Howdy, guys. This is attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. We've now got the better live camera on, actually much better than one we traditionally use. So we're going to be going ahead and using this camera in the future. As you know, my name is attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm mostly an attorney that practices Social Security disability law in the South of America, in the Florida general area. Okay, so I'm not talking about Texas, not the bottom of California, but specifically the Florida-based area. Let's talk a quick moment about some of our sponsors. First and foremost, in the future, we're going to have a giant banner behind us once we get back from vacation. And that giant banner is going to show both two things. Thing number one is going to be spaceconstitution.com. Thing number two is going to be basically Disability Resolution PA. It's staggered, just like you would see at a really cool live event. Like if you went to a gaming convention or something like that, it's one of those types of backdrops. So that's what we'll be using in the future. Very exciting stuff. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my phone number right in the side panel here, 279-1754. I'm going to wait till people join a little bit, and then we're going to be taking our first phone call. That is part of this whole setup. Okay, so let me get set up on this end to go ahead and do our first phone call. We do have somebody who has agreed ahead of time to go ahead and go through the process with me relevant to beating them up for Social Security disability benefits. Now, a lot of you guys, if you're new or you're not new, that's fine. Just so you know, my name is attorney Walter Hnot. I have done Howdy Florida Couple 2011. How we doing? I just wanted to make sure that everybody can hear me okay and all the technology is working fine. So let's go ahead and begin with the basics. We do have some sponsors. Our first sponsor is Second Wave Masks, and they are amazing. Their website's still coming together and things like that, but if you're looking for basically a mask to wear, they're really great. They're custom fitted. They have a little thing on the nose. They're really high-end cotton. There's multiple layers. They pass all the little tests, so they're really great. Okay. The next thing I want to go through is basically spaceconstitution.com. As you guys know, I'm building a platform for people to build the first open source constitution for anybody to go ahead and create the details relevant to what they think should be in a constitution. So that's a really cool thing, because for the first time, politicians aren't creating the Constitution. This guy, the great, and possibly great nephew of George Washington, is going to go ahead and create it. So that's going to be really amazing. All right. So what we're going to be doing is beginning. I'm going to call the first person. Now, before I call this first person, I need you guys to understand something. This person has given me the okay. Once again, this person has given me the okay to go ahead and go after them and beat them up on their claim. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up the phone here. Hi, this is attorney Walter Hnot. Who am I speaking with? Please use a fake name.
Hi, Walter. This is Paige Scott.
Excellent, madam. Okay, now, guys, I want to give you a quick heads up. We are live on YouTube. I want to go through some of the basic details. Also, Palm Beach girl, congratulations. You got approved for SSDI. Excellent. Let's go ahead and go through it. Now, this wonderful individual has agreed for me to treat her in this hearing as if I were one of the tougher, meaner judges that I go in front of. That means I'm going to be mean. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to beat her up. Now, she probably has the advantage over most of these claimants where she's reviewed a lot of the video information, which is good. That just means I'm going to be more aggressive and more mean. After I go through the testimony with her, relevant for doing the hearing testimony shaping, we're going to be going through her 3373 details and going ahead and basically showing what should be on there, what shouldn't be on there, etc. So that we can kind of help you guys understand what to put on these wonderful functional reports. Every claim that we file for Social Security disability benefits requires you to file a 3373 functional report. This form, the entire purpose of it, is to go ahead and basically get you to put down that you can do physical things, that you can do mental things. This is not the work form. This is the home form. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, mowing, all those kinds of details. Do you have pets? Do you take care of others' kids? Do you have any orthopedic devices? Those types of functions. Mastering this form is imperative, because when they write your brief for your hearing, guess what? They are going to go ahead and put in there information that you wrote into it maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago about what you can or cannot do. Now, with that said, I am in Maine. I just wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. The internet up here is very, very good where I'm currently located, so we shouldn't have any skipping problems or anything like that. Let's go ahead and get right to the hearing testimony. Madame, go ahead and state your full fake name for the record.
Paige Scott.
Excellent. Walk me through, what is your date of birth and current age?
May 6753.
Now, we've got some earnings here. Okay, it looks like they really were at the highest in 2007 and 2013 and 2015, and it looks like they kind of became less. Can you explain to me right off the bat, well, what happened to your earnings? They kind of dived after 2016.
That's because I took a short-term disability.
Mhm.
And at some point, my earnings go to 60%.
Mhm.
And I also, after my short-term ended in 6 months, I also took a month of unpaid leave.
Okay. So you were on short-term disability. Talk to me about long-term disability. Did you transition onto that?
I did. That was actually in September of 2018.
Okay, September 2018. And how long have you been on that?
Yes. Since September 2018, I've been on long-term.
Okay, when is it going to run out?
Actually, this month.
This month. Okay, when is your hearing?
The 26th.
26. Okay. So let's go ahead and go through this. Can you explain to me, what are your top 5 most severe impairments?
I would have to say they are anxiety, panic attacks, the osteoarthritis in my hand, depression, and the arthritis in my back and the herniated disc.
Okay. Out of all of those, which is the most severe impairment?
The anxiety.
Which is the most severe physical impairment?
As far as pain, I have to say my lower back, but as far as being an impairment to my daily activities, the arthritis in my hand.
Okay. How old are you?
53.
Okay, so you're not that old. Why do you have such terrible arthritis?
I wish I knew.
Okay, understood.
I don't know if it is hereditary. My grandmother had the osteoporosis. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I honestly don't know, though.
Okay, so potentially genetics. Walk me through this. Where did you work over the past 5 years?
In the past 5 years, I actually had the same job for 10 years. I worked at a telecommunication company in customer service.
Okay. So walk me through this. What were some of the functions that you did at that job? And explain to me things that you had to lift and put down.
I actually was an inbound call center. I worked in customer service, so I assisted customers with their mobile phone accounts, everything as far as plan changes, billing, first level tech support. I wore a headset. I typed throughout the day. So there actually really wasn't anything I was lifting.
Okay. So there wasn't anything that you were lifting. This was mostly interacting with clientele. You were good at this job, I'm assuming?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You were good at this job, I'm assuming. You had high earnings from that type of job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm assuming this was full-time. You were there all the time.
Yes. I did, however, like I said, unfortunately missed a lot of time because of my taking short-term disability.
Okay. So you missed a lot of time, and that was after, I'm assuming, 2016. Do we have it in the record, ma'am, that you submitted your attendance record?
What I did is I submitted the times I took short-term to the disability companies.
Okay.
And I notated the ones that were due to surgery and the ones that were due to mental. And I just actually kind of added it up actually before I took short term, prior to my long term, when I went out. In 9 years and 7 months, I took 20 months of short term out for my depression and anxiety.
Okay. Okay. So we have a better understanding specifically of when you weren't able to go. What was the main thing that kept you from going to work?
The anxiety, fear of being in the work environment, coworkers, nervous, being afraid of judgment, failing, even though I I did well at my job. A lot of it was that and just panicking and depression, but mostly anxiety was my issue.
Okay. All right. So basically, let me understand this. What was it? Getting along with people? Did you have a hard time doing tasks? What was so difficult?
It wasn't getting along with people. I'm a shy person, so I kind of stayed to myself. A lot of it had to do with what was going on in my personal life. And I don't know if it was just the pressure I was putting on myself.
Now, I gotta interrupt you right there. I want to know right now, when people say personal life, they go ahead and usually tell me about something that, is relevant to one impairment or another. But I need to know right now, your personal life, how did it impair you, and what impairments were actually made more severe by it?
I knew what was going on in my personal life that affected my anxiety and depression.
Yeah, because we all have problems. Everybody's got personal issues. We have to get through life. We have to keep working. We have to pay the bills. So what made yours so severe that you couldn't function in a normal fashion in which we traditionally do?
Very true. Very true. Actually, I think what really, at the end, in a sense, was too much for me was when my son was deployed to the Middle East in a combat deployment.
It was deployed, and then what happened? Ma'am, I'm going to need you to speed up. I'm going to need to know very quickly. We only have about 15 minutes of hearing time for you, so walk me through it.
Yes, he actually returned from the deployment once I was on long term.
Okay, excellent. So nothing bad happened to him?
No, but if I can just elaborate, I think it was a little bit more than actually him being deployed. It actually goes back a little bit further than that. I was in a 22-year abusive marriage, and from that marriage, my ex-husband became abusive after a combat deployment. And I think my son being deployed brought up a lot of feelings. And I think that really caused me to have a lot of problems with anxiety and depression.
Well, I don't understand what the big problem was. Many people are part of the military, armed forces, if you will, that are interacting. So walk me through this. Was he injured?
No, he was not. No.
Okay. So was there any other family member that was injured as part of their interaction prior to him going?
No, they were not. No.
So what specifically about his attendance with the armed forces, which is a very honorable aspect and field, what so specifically about it caused you to have such difficult times with your anxiety, your depression, your panic attacks?
It brought back a lot of the flashbacks of the marriage and the abuse. And that it just brought back a lot of emotions and feelings, and that affected me a lot with my attendance, the short term, and depression.
Okay. So PTSD, so basically now we get a lot of people that come into this court and ask specifically about PTSD, and they reference that they have these issues. And I guess what I need to know is I need to know where this started. I need to know the background. I don't need to know finite specific details, but I need a general overview as to what is causing your PTSD.
Okay. It, like I said, my ex-husband was not the same once he came back from combat deployment. I don't think we were as familiar with PTSD as we are now to kind of handle it. We did try to go to counseling, but it did not work out. He was very abusive to me and my oldest child. He was full of anger. I tried to leave him multiple times. I eventually was able to leave him and their children. And I did have difficulty leaving because it was a very controlling and abusive relationship. But I was able to be okay and get in the workforce. But it really, when my son left for the military, I was okay. I was very proud of him. I did not have any issues. It was once he found out that he was being deployed to a combat region that the nightmares came up, the flashbacks came up, the fear, the constantly looking behind me, the always afraid that someone's about to hurt me, fear of just everyday people that I did not have before.
What, like neighbors, like coworkers?
Anyone. It did not matter who it was. It was just fear of people.
Okay. Now, I shouldn't have helped there, but let me help you out. We need to tie this specifically to where you were working. So PTSD, difficulty with working, give me a connection, give me a bridge. You got to be a little faster than this. You got to be on top of this.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm going to help you out a little bit more. Flashbacks while you were interacting with customers that looked like your son, looked like people you knew from the military, people that reminded you of your ex-husband, bosses that were males, bosses that were aggressive towards you. Did you hear voices that were similar to voices you knew? Draw me a connection, PTSD, and your work.
Okay. The symptoms of my fear and nervousness were heightened when I was working with a male customer or had a male supervisor.
Great opportunity for a story. Give me a story.
Okay. I was working with a customer one time when they were telling me actually about their daughter actually going overseas. And it was a very light conversation, a very enjoyable and pleasant conversation with my customer. But once I got off the phone, the memories of my situation, even though it had nothing to do with the customer and there was positive, brought back so much memory that I actually had a panic attack at work and had to go into the bathroom, and I was vomiting, and my supervisor had to come and get me. And I actually left early that day.
Okay, let's do that again. I want an emotional story. You've got literally 60 seconds to deliver it and make it perfect. Emotional story, go ahead. I was on the phone talking with a client that I was getting along with, and it was amazing. We were talking about
their daughter preparing to be stationed in Europe. They were very excited about it. They thought this was a great opportunity for their daughter, and they would have a new vacation spot to go to once their vacation came up. It was a great conversation with my customer. I enjoyed every bit of it. Once we ended the conversation, and I was off the phone with my customer, notating the account, the memories of the conversation that I had with my customer brought back memories of my situation because I was stationed in Europe with my ex-husband. And that's where we were actually, when he came back from his combat deployment, and he was not the same. He was full of anger. We tried our best to work together. My phrase was always, "You're not the same." His phrase to me was, "You don't understand." And it unfortunately was a lot of abuse and control in the marriage afterwards, or a very unpleasant and unsafe household there. And it just caused me so much. I had a panic attack and was ill in the bathroom and had to leave early that day from work.
Okay. All right. Work on that, because I started to draw into the story in the beginning, and then you used a bunch of very outside the bubble terms about your marriage and how it was bad. And I need to know specific details, because remember, I've been sitting doing 5 hearings up to this point. And if you don't spike me in the head with something dramatic, harsh, and aggressive, then I'm not going to be able to listen, because my brain has already been through, a judge's version of PTSD. So you're going to have to come up with a story that's emotionally connecting. I mean, we're talking about the Harry Potter version of what it is I need to hear that happened, except it's a nightmare. It's a flashback. It ruined your ability to work. Let's go on to the next thing. Talk to me about home life. Are you currently with your ex-husband? Are you with somebody else now?
Definitely not with the ex-husband. I am actually living with a boyfriend now.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
We have been living together for 2 years. When I moved in with him, actually, at the beginning of my long-term, in September 2018, he was just a friend at that point, and the relationship has grew. And it's been a very good thing for me because he's very understanding with the issues that I have, and it's been very helpful to me with helping me with going to my doctor's appointments. He's very understanding.
What does he do for a living?
He's actually a restaurant manager.
So help me out with this. You get along with him really well. He's really understanding. He interacts with people all the time, serving them food or getting people to serve them food properly and helping general customers. So I understand the connection, but what I don't understand is if you can interact with him, why can't you do a basic job?
Yeah, I've known him for 8 years. 8 years before I actually even moved in with him. Mm-hmm. And it took a long time. It takes me a long time to trust someone, to feel safe around someone. Mm-hmm. And I would say he is definitely special. He has people in his family that are therapists, and he has people in his family that have mental illness. So he has an understanding on both sides that some people may not have. And like I said, it took years. It took years for me to be able to trust him. I don't have a large social circle, not at all. Actually, I have none since I left my work. My work was my social circle.
Do you ever see your son?
I have two. One lives nearby. I see every so often. The other one is stationed far away, so not very often.
Okay, walk me through this. So you're obviously having some difficulty. You explained to me a panic attack that forced you in the bathroom to go ahead and leave work early. How many panic attacks per month do you have?
When I was working,
no, I mean nowadays.
I would say probably.
I mean nowadays.
Now?
Yeah.
Nowadays, my life is very boring and calm and not full of too much excitement or things that would trigger me to have any panic attack. I think I've only maybe had 3 this year.
Wow, that's incredible. We're almost done with this year. You've only had 3, so you're almost cured.
That would be wonderful, but the thing is, I stay inside mostly now. I don't go out, so I don't do anything that triggers me to have a panic attack. Okay. I very seldom leave the house anymore.
So basically, if we gave you a job that was like a security job where you just watch monitors, you should be able to do that.
It would still take me to leave the house. It would still take, even if I wasn't working with people, I would still be there at a job with the concern of the stress of being at a job, of failing at a job, being under pressure of hoping that I am not disappointing someone. The fear of if I'm working with people, if I trust the people, if I'm alone, I'm scared to be alone.
So, all right, help me out. What kind of job could you do? I mean, think about it. There's a lot of options. There's Walmart greeter. There's, shoelace tire. There's almond blancher. There's assembly line worker. There's somebody who just answers phones all day. There's somebody who just basically, works at a tanning salon as a receptionist. There's got to be something out there you can do.
At this very moment, I honestly could not think of anything. With my mental impairments and the physical ones, I can't think of a job that I could do successfully.
Okay. When your husband does things for the, job that he has, managing the hotel, I'm sure he does things at home, correct?
Yes, he does, yeah.
What are functions that he does at home?
He helps with He helps with the laundry. He takes care of doing the floor, loading and unloading the dishwasher, and going to the grocery store. Anything that has to be bought and brought into the house, he actually goes and gets.
Well, what about things related?
He does the cooking.
Yeah, what about things related to his work, though? What about things related to his job? Does he go home and work on schedule, payroll, things like that?
No, he doesn't.
No. Okay, so he leaves his work there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me about some of the stuff you do around the house. What do you do?
Around the house, I have a few vegetable plants that I bought this year. I take care of those. I have a collection of succulents and cacti that I take care of. I feed our backyard animals, the chipmunks and squirrels and birds. I have bird feeders and squirrel feeders. I do some light cleaning in the house throughout the day. I do dishes throughout the day. I like doing dishes. It's kind of therapeutic for me. I kind of do them a little bit at a time because my hands hurt, but the warm water feels good a little bit. So I just kind of do a little dishes here and there and enjoy the outside because I know my seasonal depression can get rather bad. So I'm kind of soaking up the outside sunshine while I can.
You said you work with vegetables. You got hanging plants, I'm assuming?
No, these are just like the cherry tomato plants, the small ones you get from like Home Depot or Lowe's. And the other ones are just succulents. They're really tiny little things.
What's the type of animal you feed the most outside?
Probably the squirrels.
Okay. Do you feed them on a schedule?
Oh no, they're not tame or anything. They're just running back through the yards and things, and I have a squirrel feeder. I put nuts in there and kind of throw nuts to them throughout the day, and just kind of throw them here and there. It's not a schedule. They just come as they want, and I just kind of put the food out whenever I'm out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And help me out with this. Do you have any pets of your own?
No, I don't. I like to have one, but I don't think I'm ready to take care of one yet. Especially with, I love dogs, but I can't. I don't want to put anything else on my boyfriend as far as walking a dog, and even walking a dog takes me leaving the house. So as much as I want one, I'm just not ready yet. So I don't have any pets yet.
What do you normally feed the animals outside?
Bird seed, chopped peanuts, and the peanuts in the shell.
Okay. So what do? You pull the peanuts out kind of gig?
We have my boyfriend has these old plastic containers. He fills them up in a storage shed,
mm-hmm.
and I have like a little scooper. I mm-hmm. fill up cups and take it from there and throw the peanuts to him.
Okay. So when you're opening up the peanuts, what do you feel in your hands?
They have screw tops. It's actually from one of those big snack, like party mix tub things that you get from like a bulk store. It actually has a screw thing. I actually just lay the top on there because and so I don't have any pain in my hands. I just kind of lay the top on there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understood. All right, walk me through this. When it comes to, doing these outside activities, well, all right, we covered some of those. You help out the general wildlife, you work with them, and you feed them and things like that. That's good. Okay, so tell me this. What else do you do throughout the day? How do you help your family with the activities relevant to what you have on your plate, and what they have on their plate?
I do a lot less than I used to, unfortunately. I do dust, and like I said, I do a little dishes throughout the day. Luckily, with two people here, it does not get dirty. We don't have any children or any pets. So there's actually not a whole lot to do. We don't do, like I said, I don't do the floors. And if we have to do laundry, we kind of tag team that. Like I may put it in the washer, and they put them in the dryer. So get them out of the dryer and put them on my bed, and I fold them or hang them up from there. But it's very little cleaning I have to do because it's only 2 people and he works.
So does he work all the time?
Not all the time, but a lot. He works a lot.
Okay. Well, all right. So does he want you to go back to work?
He has not said anything one way or the other. He's only told me to just concentrate on my therapy and things like that, getting better. That's the only thing. We don't talk about either going back or anything.
Well, why not? Doesn't he financially want you to go ahead and get back in the saddle?
I think we don't talk about it because he knows that I miss it in a lot of ways. Like I said, that my work was more than just work to me. That was my social circle, and it was a lot more than just a job. And if we talk about it, I will miss that. I'm disappointed in what happened and having to quit work, and the pressure to go back it will be a lot on me. I will feel really stressed and anxious. So if he is wanting me to go back and things like that, I would say this: he does not tell me, and I don't get that feeling from him.
Okay. So he's willing to go ahead and pay your way, right?
That's my understanding right now.
So you don't have to work.
I don't know right now. That would be my answer right now. I don't think that I do right now. I think for right now that he would take care of. I can't answer for the future or anything right now, but I think for right now he wants me just to concentrate on getting better with my therapy.
When did you two start living together?
By any means.
Okay. When did you two start living together?
September 2018.
So that's right when your income really started to go down.
That's actually when I went on long term.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no so essentially whether you receive disability benefits or not, he's willing to pay for you to be able to live there.
I can only say that's my understanding right now.
Okay, understood. Talk to me about the migraines. Yeah. How often per month do you have them?
At the worst, it was maybe 2 to 4 when I was working. Maybe only 1 to 2 a month now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, like I said, I think a lot of with the migraines and the panic attack is because I'm not doing anything to trigger the stress of that because I don't leave the house.
Okay. So help me out with this. The migraines, what do they feel like?
It's extreme pressure on both sides of my head. And I actually will, it seems like every time that I get one, not only do I want to be cold and in a dark place, but for some reason I will vomit. I don't know why that always happens also, but that seems to come along with it also. And I normally don't even want to open my eyes.
Explain to me what medications you're currently taking, what side effects you get from them, and what they're for.
Okay. I take Wellbutrin. I take a 300 milligram and a 150 milligram, and that's for my depression. That gives me headaches and upset stomach. I take Restoril, 15 milligrams. That's for insomnia. That causes me to have drowsiness and a little bit of kind of like being off balance a little bit. I take Atalax 10 milligrams for my panic attacks and anxiety that causes me to be dizzy, low drowsy. Prazosin, 2 milligrams for the PTSD and nightmares that causes me to be tired, have lightheadedness. Clomipramine, that's for OCD, panic attacks, just upset stomach on that one. Diclofenac for the arthritis, 50 milligrams. I haven't noticed any side effects with that. Flexeril, 10 milligrams for the back spasms. That makes me dizzy. The lisinopril, 20 milligrams for blood pressure, makes me tired. Simvastatin, 40 milligrams, high cholesterol, upset stomach. Topamax, 25 milligrams for migraine, just makes me drowsy. Pepsid, 40 milligrams for acid reflux. I just started taking that, so I haven't noticed anything with that. And gabapentin, 300 milligrams. That's a new one I'm taking. That's for my pinched nerve in my back. That one I'm taking some time to get used to. That one definitely causing me to be dizzy and a little off balance in the morning.
Okay. Talk to me about this arthritis. Where is it located?
In my thumb, like the base of my thumb area, and also it's in my middle finger. It's a trigger finger. It locks up so often, and I have trouble like pinching things, picking up small things, but also holding things. And I really noticed the trouble when last year I started to have the aches, the stiffness in my hands, and I was dropping things.
So the hands, walk me through it. Do you have a Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn account?
I don't have a LinkedIn account. I had a Facebook account that I had just to see pictures of family. I never posted. I think I deactivated it. I don't even think it's activated anymore.
Okay. So you can type on a keyboard without issue.
I have not typed on a keyboard since I actually left work. I always use the speak to text and have to edit from there on my phone if I do anything, but I have not sit down on the laptop or PC in 2 years.
What about writing things or filling things out on forms? Are you able to do that?
It takes me a long time. Normally, if I have to do that, if I'm going to a new doctor or something, normally what I will do is my boyfriend will print it up days before I have to go, and I'll fill out a little bit, he'll fill out a little bit. I get it beforehand because if I'm there, it will take me a long time to write. It's very painful to write, to hold the pen.
So help me out with this. Going through and understanding this, I need to understand, because to me, if it sounds like you could potentially go back and work and do some functions. You're saying it's too hectic for work. You're saying that, you're no longer having a lot of panic attacks. You probably only had 3 for the year. Isn't your medication for your panic attacks really keeping you calmer and keeping you more steady throughout the day? Wouldn't you be able to utilize maybe some sort of part-time job with that medication?
I honestly don't think it would matter if it was part-time or full-time. I would still have the same anxiety and feelings of failure, the fear of leaving the house. And like I said, I liked the job that I had. And I had, in the year prior to me going out, I had arrangements made with my employer where I had extra breaks. I had to go out on short term. The year before, and then had to go out again on short term before I left on long term. So, my employer made multiple arrangements for me. So I don't even think even a part-time, I would still have the same thing that I would have that I had there.
All right, so help me out with this. Do you help your children with anything? Are they currently working?
They are adults. They're working. They take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understood. Okay, help me out with this. When it comes to hobbies, what kind of hobbies do you have? I know you kind of putter around the house, you said, but what specifically are you up to?
I did start painting when I went out on long term.
Sure.
But last year, when I noticed I started having trouble with the hands, that was another indication that something was going on. I have not done that since last year. I had to put that to the side. Actually, it's just the plants now. It's actually just kind of fussing around the plants, dusting them off, spraying them off, taking off the leaves, seeing if I can grow plant babies to give away or so. That is actually my hobby now.
Tell me more about your hobby.
I just have a little succulents and a little cacti that, like I said, I'll pull off the leaves and I'll try to propagate and grow other plants and try to put them in an arrangement. And like I said, they're small, they're not heavy, so they're easy to move around. I actually started them in the winter time because I have to have something to keep me occupied, of course, and the seasonal depression is really bad. So I actually bought them in the winter time because I know I wasn't going to be able to paint anymore. So I had to grow lights, and I bought them, and they started to grow, and then I took them outside and got a stand, and I check them in the morning. I have to cover them up if it rains because they can't get too wet and get root rot. And I do the same thing, of course, with the couple of cherry, tomato, vegetable plants I have.
Okay.
That's the only hobby I have right now.
Are there things in the environment that cause your impairments to become more severe? Things like hot, cold dust, things like loud noises, vibrations, bright lights?
Bright lights or loud noises, or anything sudden movements or things like that will definitely scare me.
Okay. I'm not totally sure that you've convinced me that you can't work. In fact, it sounds like you just need a lower stress job because those phone jobs can be very stressful with angry, aggressive clientele of the phone company. Something goes wrong, the phone gets cut off, messages get erased, they're not paying their bill got raised when they weren't notified. I guess what's concerning me is that you haven't even attempted to find an alternative job.
I unfortunately couldn't because I'm on long term. That's actually a stipulation of my long term. I can't work.
Well, you could go back to work, but you'd lose your long-term benefits.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So if you
correct.
Right, so you physically could go back to work, but the problem is you're choosing not to because you would have monthly benefits.
Right. Correct.
Okay. So help me out here. If you were not currently dating the person that you are, and you met him and started living with him directly when you started to leave that job and get out of that prior vocational track, if you weren't dating him, I think it would probably be safe to say that you would be working now.
No, I would not.
Okay.
I would have went to live with family.
Okay.
I was that time frame right there was a very dark time in my life right there. So I wouldn't have been able to work anywhere.
Do you have a driver's license?
I do. Yes.
Do you ever go visit him at work?
No. No.
Okay. Where do you drive to?
If I drive anywhere, it would be to my doctor's appointment. Most of the time, my boyfriend goes with me because sometimes if he doesn't, I will reschedule. But if I go anywhere, it's to the doctor's appointment. A doctor's.
So you go to this doctor's appointment. How far away is the doctor's appointment or the doctor's location?
I didn't change doctors once I moved here, so they're. I think it's about 15 miles away.
15 miles away. When was the last time you were out of the county?
The end of June.
When was the last time you were out of the state?
And it would have been the same time, end of June.
Okay, so who'd you go travel to see?
My father.
Okay, how far away is he?
4 hours away.
Oh, okay, good. So you're going for a drive there. When you saw him, how was he?
Oh, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was wonderful.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. What kind of car did you drive?
Drove my car. I had a Kia Soul.
How do you pay your car insurance?
Currently, I pay it. Going forward, my boyfriend is going to pay it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understood. So it took 4 hours to get there, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did the GPS say when you started to drive? Was it 4 hours? I'm assuming it was 4 hours.
Yes, it may be like 3 hours and 40 minutes. I always know it normally takes me almost exactly 4 hours to get there and get back.
Okay. So you've driven there multiple times before?
Yes.
How many times did you drive there over the past 3 to 4 years?
Maybe three.
Maybe 3?
3 times.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you go grocery shopping, do you use the cart, the electric cart that they provide at some of these facilities?
I haven't. I haven't been grocery shopping in. Oh, I can tell you when. Last year, sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't hardly ever go by myself.
Okay. So what happens when you need something for dinner that you're going to make?
There's always something here. My boyfriend likes to cook, and being a restaurant manager, he's always bringing in food. So that's one thing that we don't have an issue with. There's always food here.
Okay. Who pays for the food at the grocery store usually?
We take turns.
You take turns.
We have taken turns, yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming at least half the time you're there at the grocery store with him.
I don't go to the grocery store.
So how does he pay with your card?
What I'll do is I'll normally just PayPal the money to him.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Now, help me out with this. Were you ever in the military?
I was.
Okay. How long ago was that?
It was a long time ago, and I was in for less than a year.
Why were you in for less than a year?
Because of my husband at the time being deployed, and I was going to be deployed, and I did not have a caretaker for my son. So I took a hardship.
So you were in the military. You didn't have a caretaker for your son, but they have resources in the military for that, don't they?
They might now. They didn't then.
How long ago was this?
91.
91. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Walk me through this. You have acid reflux, correct? Based upon your record?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it. What does it feel like when you get it? What kind of foods do you eat that seem to cause it?
Oh, foods with acid, tomatoes, grapefruit, just fruit juice, things like that. It gives me like a burning sensation in my throat and my belly, just very uncomfortable. But normally I will avoid eating those, a lot of fruits and fruit juices I avoid altogether. But if I just kind of avoid those foods later on, it seems to be okay. I don't have an issue with it.
Okay, so it's like a mild thing. This isn't really a real impairment.
No.
Okay. So tell me this, your back, osteoarthritis. Where specifically in your back do you have issues?
Lower back. My lower back, my L5 is herniated. And when I got my x-rays recently, they said that it was, I think they used the word moderately severe in the area of the L4 and L5.
Okay. So right above the hips. Did you ever have an x-ray or an MRI specifically for the area that actually includes the hips?
I actually was able to get an MRI yesterday.
Okay. So they don't have a conclusion yet, I'm assuming.
I have the images on a disc, but not the report yet.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we're going to skip that part then. Walk me through this. So you're sleeping well nowadays. You're going through and having only 3 panic attacks per year. That's pretty good. Do you have any difficulty with sleeping? I'm assuming not.
Sleeping is one of my biggest issues. That's my biggest issue. I have trouble relaxing. I probably get maybe, I would say on average 4.5, maybe 5 hours of sleep a night.
Gotcha.
Nightmares are an issue. Staying asleep is an issue. And I have, I guess what are called night tremors, where I shake and move and things like that. I have a separate bedroom. We don't even sleep in the same room due to my sleeping issues. Okay.
So you're not sleeping next to this person. You have a lot of sleep issues. All right, I'm going to go ahead and basically do a quick summary at this point and go through the things that I saw as issues that I can kind of remember throughout this entire conversation. First and foremost, if you're bringing up that you're feeding wildlife, if you're bringing up that you have a miniature garden, can you tell me right off the bat what you think might be an issue with that concerning your impairments and what the judge is going to think?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, you don't think that there's issues with lifting, pushing, pulling with your back related to being able to pick up food, being able to feed the animals, being able to interact with the animals, being able to lift up plants, being able to water plants, being able to do all those functions? Osteoarthritis of the back, knees?
I think I don't in the way that I do it, and I should explain it more. I don't lift any plants. They are really tiny. I mean, very, very, you're looking like the size of an ashtray. And the food I put in a little, almost like a solo cup, and kind of throw the nuts out from the cup, a couple times a day. So I probably need to, I don't do anything as strenuous. So I probably need to explain it more that I don't.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Do you have a cane, crutch, walker, or anything like that prescribed to you?
I do not, no.
Okay. So the osteoarthritis really isn't that bad, right?
I would not say that it's not bad. I have not gone to the doctor for it. I have been really just concerned with my mental things over the past couple of years, and I actually went to the doctor this year when the pain in my hands just got too much to ignore. But the issues with my back has been ongoing. The issues with my knees has been ongoing. And I just unfortunately just kind of ignored it because I was just concerned about my mental things.
So your mental thing's the big thing, correct?
Yes.
So the hypertension doesn't really stop you throughout the day, I'm assuming.
It makes me tired, but I've had hypertension since I was 29, so I've had to deal with that for a long time.
Okay. So help me out with this. I'm assuming, yeah, you've had hypertension for an extended period, so you were working while you had it anyway, so you found a way to go ahead and work even if it did make you tired. Looking at the migraines, they weren't really that bad enough to keep you from working. You've had those for an extended period. Acid reflux, not really a problem. Osteoarthritis, if there's really an issue there, you'd have ambulatory problems, maybe a cane, maybe a crutch, maybe a walker. So a lot of the physical issues, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not really why you're claiming disability, correct?
No, it's not. I mean, I had those pains and concerns while I was working. I had carpal tunnel surgery on both my hands while I was working, but I still worked after that. It was the mental impairments that took me from working.
All right. So you talked about this. So let's talk about the mental. Now you said your anxiety, which is obviously connected directly to your panic attacks, and your panic attacks are usually connected to, let's call it like it is, things that are happening throughout your day, nightmares, flashbacks, stuff like that. And you've only had 3 within the past year, so I mean, your anxiety medication must really be helping you at this point. Is that a correct assumption?
It could be. However, I've been on that anxiety medicine I was on it last year when I was going out more and the attacks were more. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not doing anything to trigger it. I'm not leaving the house. So the meds are definitely to think for a lot, but the fact that I'm not pushing myself, I'm not going outside, that was stops a lot of it. And I never know what these panic attacks, sometimes they come on and I don't have no idea what brings them on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So okay, but to understand this, and I understand anxiety was the most severe impairment. And I understand you're anxious, but it sounds like things are being paid for. Life is good. You're not having any structure or expectations put on your shoulders to be able to earn money to go ahead and pay for rent. So help me out with this. I mean, kind of the bottom line is, you're now with a boyfriend who's paying for everything. You got the LTD giving you money there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to drive. You're able to drive 4 hours. That kind of hurts your whole idea of osteo with your back, especially lower back, sitting for 4 hours straight. That's pretty good. Was that correct that you drove for 4 hours straight?
I did not, and that was definitely that was not a planned trip. That was something that was definitely unplanned, and we actually took that trip because my boyfriend had a heart attack, and kind of took advantage of the situation of needed something good, some good news, something good to do. While he was there, he was able, of course, to get tested for the virus. So we knew that if he was negative, I was negative because I haven't been around anyone. So we felt okay to go and visit my elderly parent. He went with me. We stopped twice on the way and planned to stop another time. However, they had changed the highway, and unfortunately we got stuck on this express lane to the left for longer than I expected. And by the time we got over, we were almost at our exit. So the third stop that I would have wanted to do, we didn't do. But that was the only reason. And the fact that he had time off, which normally, as a restaurant manager, you normally don't get 2 or 3 days off at a time. So we really just kind of took advantage of the time for that.
Okay. What seems to depress you the most?
Changes, when there's changes in life, aging, feeling worthless, that I'm no longer working. I can no longer keep my job. Feeling that really feeling worthless. I'm not doing anything, not being a mother, in a sense, not working, not seeing a positive future.
What do you mean you're worried about the future? I mean, he's paying for things. Things are good. He's able to take care of most of the problems. He has a background in understanding your impairments. What's so worrisome about the future?
I worry about my health, his health. I worry about my children. My mind is always going. I'm always thinking about something. I try not to watch TV because if I put the TV on, I put it on like a cooking channel or something. If I put it on, if it happens to pass local news or something, I'm thinking of that and taking on all the emotions and depressions of that. I just don't, it's hard for me to have a good outlook and be positive about the future. The losing of my job was really, really unexpected for me. I did not expect that was going to happen.
You're saying it was unplanned?
Yes, I did not plan to go out of work. No.
Was it a surprise to your bosses as well and your coworkers?
I don't know. I don't know. I had been out on short term before, and like I said, I was just out on short term the year before, and I thought that this was going to be like every other time. At the end of the 6 months, I was going to go back. But my therapist and psychiatrist said, you can't keep doing this. You have to think there's something else you need more treatment. And when I had talked to them and agreed that we would go on long term, and I remember that someone else in my company had went on long term, and I remember that I saw them months later, and I said, I thought you were gone. I thought you were on long term. And they said, well, it wasn't approved, and we're not approved. You come back to work. So I said, okay. So I went on long term, and then I got a call from an HR person in our headquarters, and come to find out that we had just changed disability. The company had just changed disability companies that year. And with this regulation is once you went on long term, you were terminated from the company.
So you knew ahead of time that you weren't going back.
I didn't know that terminated me until right then.
What do you mean right then?
Right when they said once you decide to go on long term, you're terminated from the company.
So they said that to you. You could never come back.
I was terminated from the company, but I could reapply later. That's what they said.
So you thought you could go back? Careful here, because I've got you. You know you're screwed. You got no way out of this one.
Well, I can't go back to my position. Mm-hmm. I would have to reapply for a new position. I was no longer an employee of the company.
Okay.
Because I was going on long term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, help me out with this. So, with all the stuff that's been going on, and I understand you've had a lot of difficulty, and that's very unfortunate. Do you personally think that this is a good claim for disability benefits? Do you personally think that I should approve this claim?
I do. I do, because I am being completely honest. I have always had a job. I have there's always been an income from me ever since I was 17.
Well, what happened in 2008? You had low earnings.
The only time.
Yeah. It's $17,312.
Oh, that was my first year at that the company that I just had to leave. That's when I left my ex-husband. So that's the time that I actually had to move outside the state. The only time that there's been actually a gap in my employment has been because of the move. That's the only time there's been a gap in my employment.
When did your husband and you break up?
I left December 2007.
Okay. All right. Okie doke. All right. There were a lot of holes in this testimony. The physical aspect we completely disproved as being anything more than potentially mild to mild moderate. The anxiety and panic attacks were disproved because of the limited number that you have per year. The PTSD was disproved because of the symptoms that result from it. The original thing that caused it is no longer an issue. And that basically you are now functioning at home, but you limit yourself, which is subjective. You could be purposely limiting yourself or just holding yourself back from doing other things. You even said you had the expectation of going back to work. You would just have to reapply as a new position with the hope that they would hire you again. But you didn't.
Yeah.
And now you've got a guy that pays for you.
I meant I thought I was going back after the end of the short term in September 2018. Mm-hmm. I actually have not thought one way or another about work at this point. I've just been focusing on just my therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really relaxed and, like I said, feeling safe in the fact that someone is paying for me because, like I said, that's today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it may look mild, but I'm being completely honest.
Mm-hmm. You're on 12 medications, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me which is the medication that seems to be working the least?
I'd have to probably say maybe the Restoril, because that's for insomnia.
Okay. How do you feel your testimony went today?
I guess I kind of feel maybe like you. I just feel like there's like bridges missing. Like there's nothing connecting things together.
Yeah, it feels like there's gaps.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how to. Like I said, I'm completely honest about everything. I just don't know how to convey that to someone else. Yeah, but I do feel like there's just not things that's bringing it all together.
Okay. Where do you feel, before we go into the 3373, where do you feel there is room for improvement? What were things you wish you had talked about? What were things that you wish you had covered?
I think that I wish there was a way that I could get through that. I did not want to lose my job. I wish there was a way that I could get that across, that I didn't want to leave work. That was not my plan to stop working at 51. That's really what I want to, that, and plus to really try to get someone to understand the severity of why my anxiety keeps me from working. That's what I'd like to know how to explain to someone.
Okay. All right. Okay, quick question. Is your boyfriend with you?
No, he's not, no.
All right. After we do this whole video thing, make sure once it uploads to YouTube, it takes a little bit, make sure you go through these questions with him. Have him explain to you the gaps. Have him explain to you the issue items. And the reason why is that if you two are a team, you'll come up with good ideas about how to get around certain testimony gaps that I'm hearing. Basically, this is one of those things where, I don't know which judge you have, but if you have a military judge, they're going to be sitting back on, why did you only do a year? If you've got a military judge, they're going to be saying, well, this is part of the territory. So you're going to have more of an explanation as to where your PTSD is coming from, just from your son went into the military and that upset you. Because basically what that came down to was you were, with an inference of your prior husband's, behavior, expecting basically that your son would go through similar experience with similar changes. And,
right.
We're expecting your son got murdered horrifically by some enemy group,
right.
Yada, yada. They showed up at your door. That's what we're expecting. But then we hear, well, he went into the military, so there's a little bit of a gap there that just doesn't really pull through. Okay. Let's go through the 3373. Go through some of the now, guys. This is the form that you always fill out with DDS. You have to fill it out for them to send you to CEs, consultative examinations. You have to fill it out for them to do a complete and proper adjudication. So this is a very important form. First question on it is, how do your illnesses, injuries, or conditions limit your ability to work? What was put down? Job 1, personal stress causes anxiety attacks, which raises heart rate and blood pressure. Depression makes it hard to stay motivated to go to work regularly. Okay. So what we're looking at there is difficulty doing, high, stress jobs or high stress tasks. We're also looking at its difficulty to show up to work and stay there because of the depression. What we don't have any mention there is of the panic attacks. What we don't have any mention there is how many days were actually missed. We don't have any mention there as any physical impairments. What we don't have any mention there has to do with the limitations that are specific to the job. Let me read the question again. How do your illnesses, injuries, or conditions limit your ability to work? In that answer, okay, we did not hear anything specific to the jobs that she had. They were all generalized statements, right? They were causing anxiety, which raises heart rate and blood pressure. Depression makes it hard to stay motivated to go to work regularly. None of that talked about working at Sprint. So let's go through real quick. Madame, walk me through with where you used to work, okay, with where you used to work. Why did your impairments make it impossible for you to continue to work there?
With the fast-paced environment, and the high standards of the customer service, the stress and anxiety of not wanting to fail at my job, not wanting to disappoint anyone, and just the anxiety of being around other people, really caused me a lot of panic, a lot of stress, which unfortunately caused me not to do my job very well. And that caused me not to, a lot of times, even show up for work. The anxiety, I would not even leave the house. I would make it to work and not even and end up driving back. Caused me to go out on short term for months at a time. And I had a lot of absences because of that, because of the anxiety and depression.
Okay. All right. Still not great. I want to hear more about interacting with clientele on the phone, interacting with bosses, specific situations. We'll work on that, though. Here's the next one. Describe what you do from the time you wake up until going to bed. Describe what you do from when you wake up until going to bed. You put down eat, breakfast, bathe, paint, lunch, TV, dinner, yoga. What do you think set my hair on fire? When I read that, I remember too, because I read it about 2 hours or 3 hours ago, and I thought to myself, damn it, what are you doing to me? All right. So What word there, I'm going to give you a hint, starts with the Y. What word there made my soul shrivel into a little tiny alien like Men in Black in the little machine where he pops out of the head? What made me cringe as if I had just seen it? There you go. There you go. So tell me about this yoga. Let's walk it through. Let's have fun with it. So you do yoga every day, correct?
I don't. I never did yoga. Can I explain one thing just real quick? When I did this form, like I said, I never even thought about disability, didn't think it was possible. Only reason I ever filed for Social Security disability is because my long-term company made me do it.
Sure.
And that month that I had to fill this out was the same month that I moved in with, at that point, my friend, that I lost my job. And also my therapist knew I was going to have trouble. So during the time of adjusting and things to long-term, put me in an inpatient center that I went to 5 days a week. However, my disability company messed up my short-term time frame because it ended at over Labor Day. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my insurance was cut off for, I think, either 6 or 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I showed up for my inpatient one time and was pulled from the class. Mm-hmm. So where I was going every day and getting help, it wasn't. So when I did this, I had no idea where my mind was at. I never even did. My boyfriend at the time did yoga. I never did yoga. So I was just filling it out to fill it out. I didn't ask anybody. They just kept calling me and say, you need to do this, you need to do it. I filled it out.
I fear for you.
Yeah.
Oh, God. When I read that, I remember thinking, I don't know how she's going to explain that. And the way you explained it was great. In crim law, we asked the person, do you commit the crime? And you said, no, I've never done yoga in my life. And then I would hold it up to the camera and say, is this your signature? I do one of those things. And then, of course, you would go, no, that's my ex-husband's girlfriend's signature. No, that's not mine. I haven't seen I've never even read that before. My LTD carrier has a woman that fills out forms for me. She did a great job, but for that, you should read the rest of it. And that's what I saw when I looked at that. Oh, yeah. I like the eat, breakfast, bathe, paint. Now, tell me about your painting. I would like to hear about the Picasso-esque arthritic paintings that you make. Tell me about these beauties.
When I had originally went out on long term, I had started doing acrylic painting on canvases. Uh-huh. I did that for a while, but early in spring of 2019, that's when I really started to notice the pain in my hands. And I wouldn't spend a lot of time with it anyway. It was, 30 minutes here, 40 minutes here, just something to do to keep me occupied throughout the day. But holding the brush became too painful, and I pushed it aside. And then, again, throughout the year, it's like, something's going on with my hands. Something's going on. So I have not painted in well over a year.
All right, so the first crime we committed was not a non-committal. We don't actually do yoga. And the second crime we committed, we haven't done it for a year. Okay, all right, this is good. I'm liking this. So so lunch, and then you put TV, and then dinner. First thing that goes to my mind is this a TV dinner, or is this TV and then you watch dinner?
I think I meant TV and then dinner. I don't know. TV and then dinner, I guess. Okay,
all right. Just a little bit of clarity. So how long can you sit and watch TV? What's your favorite show? How long does it last?
About 44 minutes.
About 44 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when they ask that, they're going to say, hey, you can do a job sitting. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Just giving you a heads up on that. All right, that makes sense. Let's go on to the next one. We're having a good time. We're having a fun time. All right, next one. Do you take care of anyone else, such as a wife, husband, children, grandchildren, parents, friends, other worldly people? No. Do you take care of pets or other animals? No. Well, that one we know is an issue. Does anyone help you care for other people or animals? No. What were you able to do before your illnesses, injuries, or conditions that you can't do now? I'm hoping it's going to say yoga. It doesn't. It says work, travel, visit, family, and socialize. All right. When was the last time you visited family? Oh, a couple months ago. How far away were you? 4 hours. All right. All right. Do the illnesses, injuries, or conditions affect your sleep? Periods that I only sleep and tires and times. Periods that I only sleep and times. I can't sleep without meds or Benadryl. Okay, that's good. So we got medication prescribed to you and Benadryl. Okay, so you can't sleep without them. So, all right, okay. So let me ask you this. When it comes to can't sleeping, did you mean the entire night or just some of the night, or how does that work out?
I'll fall asleep, and then I'll wake up for, it seems like I'm always up at 3 o'clock. I'm up for a big gap of hours, 3-4 hours in the middle of the night. And then I'm still up at 7 or 8 in the morning.
Okay.
So I fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's just I can't stay asleep.
So you could if you wake up at 7, you could go do a job. But you feel your brain there shift gears?
I still have those the meds that I take.
Okay, good.
Like for real, and stuff. I would even want to drive on those things.
Sure.
And that gabapentin, the one I'm just started taking, ooh, that's a doozy. I wouldn't want to drive to taking those.
Okay. Personal care. Check here if no problem with personal care. You check there's no problem with personal care. So with all your depression, it seems like you're able to get up, wake up, get dressed without issue. Is that correct?
Sometimes my depression does prevent me from taking care of myself, but also my hands also prevent, and my back, where I like to take baths. I have to take showers now. But I do have the days where I'm in bed. I don't want to get up. I don't want to take care of myself. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. And I don't. Unfortunately, I do not take care of my hygiene.
Okay. So probably would have been better there to answer the dress, bathe, care for hair, shave, feed, self, use the toilet question. But we'll get it next time. We will get it now. You might want to resubmit one of these to the hearing office, because otherwise they'll be worried about the downward dog position and the other, groovy stuff that your husband does, but you don't partake in. All right.
Is it worth it to resubmit another one?
Oh, you have to. Oh my God, there's so many problems on this one. You have to. You gotta resubmit.
Would it be beneficial to explain during the hearing, like what was going on during that time frame, like why I just kind of haphazardly just kind of answer these?
Well, let me play it out for you real quick. Yeah. So basically,
okay.
let's say, okay, so you were in the position, right, where things weren't really that bad, and you were thinking about doing yoga and seemed like fun, and you didn't really take this stuff seriously because you thought you were going back to work. How does that sound to the judge?
Yeah, that's not how I saw it, but I guess it does sound like that. Yes.
I mean, it made me smile.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it made me feel good on the inside, Okay, good. All right, next question. Do you need any special reminders to take care of personal needs and grooming? No. That might be something you want to be yes to. Do you need help or reminders taking medicine? Yes. You're taking 12 meds. You're never going to remember them all. You use little pill bottles. Do you prepare your own meals? No. Okay, good. How often do you prepare food or meals? A few times a month. So you don't prepare meals, and now you are preparing meals. How long does it take you? 30 minutes. So now we've just given a time limit that it doesn't take you that long to prepare meals. Any changes in cooking habits since illness, injuries, or conditions begin? You left it blank. That's where you could define how you can only use the microwave. You can't do things that involve detailed cooking because of difficulty following instructions, difficulty organizing thoughts, and difficulty lifting pots and pans, leaving things open, closing things. Any changes in cooking habits, you bet. If no, explain why you cannot or do not prepare meals. My roommate cooks the meals for the house. Yeah, but he's got a full-time job. They're going to tear you apart on that. House and yard work. Oh, I'm excited about this one. This is the category I was waiting for. All right, here we go. List household chores, both indoors and outdoors, that you're able to do. For example, cleaning, laundry, household repair, ironing, mowing, etc. You clean room and do laundry. Okay, that's maybe explain your limitations when it comes to cleaning. Difficulty pushing and pulling a vacuum. Difficulty with having to roll rugs or lift up TVs and maneuver things to go ahead and clean around them. Maybe with laundry, a full basket might be too heavy for you, or having to lift the gallon. And I know they don't sell that at Walmart and Publix anymore. There was a time where we could buy a gallon of, soap for the laundry, and now all they sell us is basically mostly plastic with a drip or drop somewhere in it. I don't,
Okay.
and so that's a good spot. How much time does it take you, and how often do you do each of these things? You put down every day, which is not how much time it takes you, but okay, good. So maybe explain why it takes you longer to do these functional tasks and how you're limited and how you can do these functional tasks. Do you need help or encouragement doing these things? No, because you're super excited about it. That's good. Okay. If you don't do house or yard work, explain why not. That would be that one was left blank. Going through the difficulty you have with lifting, pushing, pulling, not being able to be outside due to the medication. Some of the side effects of your medications are not being able to be out in the sun and incontinence. I didn't hear any of that. So that might be relative. How do you do out in the sun? Do you like to sunbathe out there? Do a little yoga? No?
No, I have the umbrella up.
See, so you got like the white gloves and the umbrella from like the 1900s. I dig it.
Exactly.
It's a style that should never have gone out. It's Titanic all the way. I love it. Oh my goodness.
My petticoat.
Oh, and it's got to be at least a cashmere color, at least in the middle of Florida. I love it. This is the style. Wait, by the way, which area are you from? Are you Florida or are you somewhere else?
North of Atlanta.
Okay, so you're still in a warm state. You're in a good state. You're in a Georgia land. Okay. All right. So how often do you go outside? When I have appointments. There you go. If you don't go out at all, explain why not. Might have been a good part to put in some limitations about fear of being around others, difficulty with your medications and realizing where you are, not being able to interact with neighbors. When going out, how do you travel? I drive a car or ride in a car. Cool. When going out, can you go out alone? Sure. I don't know if that's still an accurate answer nowadays. Maybe sure that one up. Do you drive? Yes. Shopping. If you do any shopping, do you shop? By computer. Wait a minute. I thought you had difficulty with typing.
I do.
Okay, cool. All right, that answers that. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, we got an answer for that now. Okay, so just help me out here. Now, look, I'm an eBayer. I've got some people have drug problems. Cocaine, heroin, angel dust. Some people have tobacco problems. Cigarettes, stuff they put in their lip, the dip that makes you look instantly country. Some people have things like, alcohol problems. They like, Tennessee whiskey. They like, some vodka made in a different country that's mostly cold. They have problems. I have an eBay problem. When you put down where do you shop, most judges do not automatically think Walmart. They don't automatically think what you put down, toiletries and food. Although you put the spelling is so cute. You spelled it out as toiletries. It's just adorable.
I was not involved with this form.
No, I know. If we were to half-ass this thing, that's what we would end up with. But that's just adorable. Like if I ever have a company that sells toilet papers, I'm going to call it Toileties. Did you get your Toileties for 99 cents on the dollar? This is the best you're going to have. I love it. I can just imagine. We need to make a nice little like toilet stick figure, like a big toilet body and these little tiny arms. That would be cute. Maybe a little cap or something. I don't know, something adorable. Maybe like a little. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So, oh God, my dog is starting to bitch at me. Let me grab him real quick. Otherwise, if I don't give him rubbies, he starts rampaging, and all of a sudden he's broken into a CVS and a Walgreens. Here we go. All right. So, what else do you need to know? How often do you shop? And How long does it take? Weekly and 1 hour. So wait a minute. Are you shopping online weekly in 1 hour? It takes you an hour online to buy food and toiletries. So, I mean, all right. So let's clarify this. Where are you shopping online? It's not eBay. It's not Amazon. Where do you shop?
It actually is Amazon.
Oh man. Oh man. The judge's mind is never going to go there. These judges, most of them are like upper 60s, 70s, stuff like that. Some of them are in their 80s. So you got to remember, if you're coming out with something like, I buy my food on Amazon, that is foreign to them. To them, toilet paper only exists in one type of store, and that's the one they've been going to for the past 30 years. So you're going to have to, be able to frame this and explain to them where the good ketchup comes from. Because otherwise, it's going to be a jump for them. Now let's check this out. I just saw an eBay notification. Well, I don't even know what I bought today, but I'm sure it was something. All right, so let's see.
I think my judge has been a judge a long time.
Oh, I'm sure most of them are.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's only like 3 young judges in Orlando at the moment, and I mean, one of them's young. Like I was part of their hearings where they were training, and then one of them is kind of young, but But anyways, all right, so let's look at this. Are you able to pay bills? No. Well, why aren't you able to pay bills if you're getting LTD money?
I don't think I meant it like that. I think I was kind of like where I was kind of ignoring them, not just paying attention. And
I do that all the time.
That was the time where.
That's when the electric company calls me and says, "Do you like internet?" And I'm like,
when I said this out, it was like, what was going on at that very moment? And actually, at that time, my friend he just kind of helped me set up everything on like the automatic draft, and so I would not have to do anything. So I think that's where my mind was at that time.
Okay, I like it. That's a good explanation. I'll go with that. You put down that you can count change. Yes, you can. I'm proud of you because most Americans can't count change. I know this because the little machine tells them how to count it. Madame, can you tell me what's 15 plus 17?
32.
Oh, thank God. All right, next one. Handle a savings account. That looks good. Yes. Use a checkbook money order. Yes, all these look good. Let me scroll to the next thingy real quick. All right, we are getting through this. Let's see. Has your ability to handle money changed since the illnesses, injuries, or conditions began? You put yes, I didn't need assistance before.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what they mean by that. What they mean is like, how did your impairments limit your ability to handle money? So can you tell me, how does your PTSD, your anxiety and depression and panic attacks limit your ability to handle money?
It's just not a priority. It's just not something that I think about, especially at that time. My mind is thinking of everything else, and unfortunately, sometimes the important things that are a necessity, it should be a priority. I just passes me by. My mind is somewhere else.
Just.
That's why, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. What are your hobbies and interests? You put TV.
That's what yoga again.
I love TV too. You put painting. That's good. And online games. Ooh. Tell me about these online games. Tell me about them. What do you enjoy about these online games?
I do like the daily crossword. Every day.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So what's so good about it?
It's challenging. It makes me think. I pull it up. It's one every day, and I just kind of every so often pull it up and try to think of what the word is. It just kind of gets my mind thinking of something else. So every so often when I have a moment and I'm not doing anything, I'll pull it up on my phone and try to go to the next clue and try to think of something. So I'm normally working on it all day. Most of the time I don't finish it, but it just gives me something else to think about, somewhere else to kind of put my thoughts.
So you must be pretty good at them by now. I mean, you've been doing them for a while.
Oh, I'm not good at them. It's just something else to think about. It's just something to kind of redirect my mind. That's all it is.
Okay. Okay.
And it's something quick. I can't pay attention. I don't read or anything like that. It takes a lot of attention. This is something that just takes a few seconds.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Next one. And I just realized it's 9:44. So like, I'm going to do a really quick summarized version of this because there's like 4 or 5 people I missed. So let me do a quick summary real quick. Describe. So how often do you do these things? Daily. Okay, boom. So we know that you're able to do a lot of functioning tasks. Describe any changes in these activities since his illnesses, injuries, or conditions began. You did not paint before or do yoga.
I never did yoga. Yep.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just recharacterize that. Before your injuries, describe any changes in these activities since the illness, injuries, or conditions began. You did not paint before or do yoga. So now that you have impairments, you paint and do yoga. That's what you put down. How do you feel about that?
I know. Horrible.
I feel horrible too. I'm scared. I'm like in a corner under a staircase looking at a Harry Potter video cover from the DVD collection at Blockbuster. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never even pulled this out and looked at it if I didn't hear one of your videos and say, oh, what is that? And I pulled it up. And like I said, I did not think I have representation now because I'm like the person that I have so-called representing me. Like, why didn't they take a look at this and call me and say, oh, you want to be denied? What are you doing?
Well, do you have an attorney or do you have like an insurance carrier that just gave you somebody, or what do you have, an advocate? What do you have?
It's non-attorney rep from the long-term disability company.
So you don't even have an attorney.
No.
This is gonna be a very interesting experience for you. I hope you catch up with us after it happens. I love you dearly.
I will.
Oh no, the ship is burning and we're throwing oil and steaks on top because who doesn't like steak, you know? All right, so let's see. Social activities. Do you spend time with others? No. That's good. List of places you go on a regular basis. Didn't put anything down. Great opportunity to say you don't go to places. Do you need to be reminded to go places? No. So you're mentally self-confident. Do you need someone to accompany you? No, even though you can't drive places without your boyfriend. That's good. Do you have any other problems getting along with family, friends? No. That's terrible. Describe any changes in social activities since the illnesses, injuries, or conditions began. Stay to myself. Don't see my friends and family very seldom. That's a good statement right there. I like that. That's the first good one. That was 19D. So we got one. It just took 19 questions to get there. So I'm happy about that. That's good. And remember, these questions have multiple parts. So it's actually far worse, as a metric, as a mathematical thing. Anyway, so check any of the following items your illnesses, injuries, or conditions affect. Now remember, we have an osteoarthritis, moderate to severe back problem. Lifting, no issue. Squatting, no issue. Bending, no issue. Standing, no issue. Reaching, no issue. Walking, no issue. Sitting, no issue. Kneeling, no issue. Talking, you put down as an issue. Mental impairment, I understand that. Hearing, no issue. Stair climbing, no issue. Seeing, no issue. Memory is an issue. Mental impairment, completing tasks is an issue. Good. Concentration, understanding, and following instructions, all issues. Very good. Using hands, no issue. Getting along with others, that definitely should have been checked off. No issue. So for your mental and physical impairments, you better check off every single one of these. Are you right-handed or left-handed? You're right-handed. How far can you walk before needing to stop and rest? You put down a very specific number. I just want to show everybody what number that was. That number was, and it's not going to show up on the camera, and it looks upside down, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. There you go, right there. You put down a question mark. Why did you put down, and I'm not saying, look, I have made a mistake in the past with this channel. I stated that women don't know distances. They don't know feet. They don't know, they don't know meters. They don't know yards, and the joke one of them said online was, but they sure know inches. And that is true. They've got that down from their heels. They know that better than most. So with that said, now my camera can't even focus. That's no biggie. I'm not good to look at anyways. So the point is, when I look at this thing and I see this whole situation, I think that here, I'll get really close to it so it focuses on me. When I look at this thing, the thing that worries me, how far do you think you can walk in feet?
In feet. I know it. I think I could walk a football field.
Okay, what's a football
I think I could
field?
walk 100 yards.
Okay.
100 yards.
Okay, what's that in feet? Come on, you got this. You got this. You got this.
I do. No, I don't.
You totally got this. It's 100 yards. What's that in feet? For all womankind, you have this.
Oh, no. Is it 300?
Oh, my God. Ah. All right. All right. My dog is concerned I'm upset. he's literally barking. Let me grab him real quick. Hold on. Let me just bring him up here. Okay. So, I know. Daddy's fine. Okay. If you have to, oh, he's just lit his tongue in my mouth. I hate that. All right. If you have to rest, how long before you can resume walking? So tell me in minutes how long you need to rest as a person who doesn't use orthopedic devices and has just walked a football field.
Probably about 5 minutes.
Well, you're in better shape than me, buddy. I got to, if I walked 100 yards, right, and then I was like, woo, that's tired. I'm in Georgia. I would be resting for 10 minutes, but that's good. That's good. For how long can you pay attention? You put 10 to 15 minutes. Very good answer. Do you finish what you start? Yes. Very bad answer. How well do you follow written instructions? Very well. How well do you follow spoken instruction? Not great. Will forget. That would have been a great area to explain why you can't do written instructions. Difficulty where you have to reread it, difficulty where concentration is bad, because you just made it seem like you set up here difficulty with concentration, completing tasks, memory and understanding, and following instructions. And then down here, you're saying you can read books and instructions very well. That may be contradictory.
Exactly.
Okay. A little bit, you know. All right, so we'll go to the next one. How well do you get along with authority figures? You put good. That's fine. Everybody likes police officers right now. Have you ever been fired or laid off from a job because of problems getting along with other people? You put no, even though your last job obviously didn't work out so well. How well do you handle stress? Not good. Panic attacks. Good answer, maybe a little bit more to flesh it out. How well do you handle changes in routine? I prefer routine, don't like changes. Cool. Maybe you can explain why. That would be good. Have you noticed any unusual behaviors or fears? Crowds, stores, social places, restaurants, right there. 20 L. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Do you use any of the following? You left the whole thing blank. Crutches, walker, wheelchair, cane, brace, splint, artificial limb, hearing aid, glasses, contact lenses, artificial voice box. At least go get a cane. All right. Do you currently take any medicines for your illness, injuries, or conditions? Yes. If yes, do any of your medicines cause side effects? Yes. Okay. Okay. And then you really outlined all your medications by not putting a single one. And then you didn't you didn't sign it. So at this point, we could pretty much say your LTD carrier did fill it out. I'm okay with that. Is everybody okay with that?
I think they had me do the medicine on a different form. I think on that one. I think that I did that part, but yeah, the rest of it was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible.
You know, and that's the thing is this is a whole learning experience for you. The problem is that you've got the hearing so close, which is what's tough is that fixing this all, you can't fix it all, but you could make it a better situation for yourself. You know, I'm not in Georgia. I think what would be better is to drop the representative you do have and then basically go find an actual attorney that could really prep this thing for you. Granted, most attorneys are not like me. They're, you know, it's 8 to 10 on Thursday. I'm on vacation right now at my vacation home. that my parents have, and I'm still working. Just, I work the entire day. So I guess my big thing here is, you could always do the hearing and then find out what happens. But I don't think you, especially don't think your boyfriend, are going to be super excited about the idea of getting a denial, because if you get a denial, guess what? You don't have money coming in, and your bills on top of your boyfriend's bills. You know how relationships go. Money gets tight, people get cranky,
Exactly.
Now, do you
think I should weigh that against maybe my judge's approval rating?
What's your judge's approval rating?
51.
That's good. That's good. That's 4 points above the national average. That's pretty good. Look, fix these things. Resubmit a new 3373. Okay. Get it right. I always love when people hear a judge's percentage rate. They just put in the chat, my judge is at 54%. There's always somebody online that's like, my judge is better. He's so much better than your judge.
You win.
And then the funniest part is when they go look up the history of that judge, they realize, last year the judge was giving out a lot of favorables, but the entire judge's career, they had like 30, 32, 35, really low ones. And then they're going, oh God, what's going to happen? So, but I guess what this would come down to for me is a structured approach to basically fixing the problems. I don't know what your medical record looks like, but I do know this: if you truly have arthritis-based issues, you should be having some sort of orthopedic device that's ambulatory to assist you with your daily activities. I do know this: if you're truly having all these mental impairment problems, then just going in, and I can tell. I'm going to be honest with you. I can tell from the type of person you are, your treatment for mental, correct me if I'm wrong, is all outpatient, correct?
No. I had an inpatient in spring of 2018, and then my therapist had put me in one when I was getting ready to go long term because of transition in September 2018, and that's when I was pulled from it because of they ended my insurance by error, and I was pulled out of that program.
Most of the medical visits you do are medication reviews, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Most
of the medical reviews that you do, that when you go in, those are medication review visits, correct?
No, I have therapy sessions.
Okay. And those therapy sessions, what are they concluding about you?
The major depressive disorder and the anxiety. The impairments.
Yeah, what are they saying about them? Are they getting better?
In some areas. Like the ptsd has gotten better. Anxiety, not so much. And unfortunately, some things get better, and then life changes, and then unfortunately, aging also doesn't help either.
How old are you again?
53.
Okay. Well, you're not going to grid out with this setup that I see right here, which means you're looking at a listing allowance. A vocational allowance. You're not going to cal out or list out, so this is going to have to be a vocational allowance. I guess. Somebody's yelling at me on the phone. I guess. What this comes down to is a situation of how good is this claim. And the first thing I tend to worry about with your situation is, as I look at this thing, is all the medical evidence in there? If all the medical evidence isn't in there, is there other stuff in there that would basically, prove a good claim? If you're getting better, what does that mean? Where are you at with, basically your improvement? Are the doctors the type that are egotistical, that are saying, oh, she's much better and much better and much better? Or is this a situation where you basically are in they're saying you're getting worse, you're having problems, or is this a situation where they're saying, oh, she's improving slowly, things are pretty good, work might be an option? Have you seen your medical records?
I have not seen that. I know there was 2 RFCs done.
Mm-hmm.
There was one done December of last year. I don't remember the markings, but they said that possibly I may be able to return to work in a year. And then there was one done in March this year that they said that pretty much everything was marked extreme, whatever that means, and that they did not see a possibility at this time or a date at this time for me to return to work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we have an RFC with an extreme. Just so you guys know, there's mild, moderate, severe, extreme. Another word for severe is marked. You'll hear that in the hearing. So what they need for impairments are either severe or 2 severe categories, or severe and extreme, or just extreme, or sometimes for some impairments just severe. So it's all in the severe to extreme categorization of disability benefits, depending on whether it's a grid or a listing or whatever. But the bottom line is that's good. That'll be helpful. Did you go to any CEs on behalf of the SSA?
No, they never did send me to anything.
Okay. All right. So then they're going to have to rely on the evidence of your provider, which is good. That's good, because that means that your provider is the person of record. Now, they could still bring in a reviewing physician who's a non-seeing physician to review the medical documentation. And you should ask your fake attorney to go ahead and look at it and see if they're likely to, or if the judge is using a consultative examination, but for a non-seeing physician to go ahead and proffer testimony relevant to it, or if the judge is going to go ahead and bring an ME to the actual hearing, which will be telephonic because of COVID. So these are all questions that are like of, live or die importance, slight stuff. It's like, I want to applaud your boyfriend for working in the food industry, because that's one of the toughest industries to work in. I used to work in that, and it is miserable to work in the food industry. And that's because your feet are killing you, people are idiots, and something's not ever right. Everybody's got different taste buds.
Agreed.
And then the employees, it's illegal to smack them. I don't know what to do with them. It's just terrible. But Dime Darrow, thank you so much. He just donated to the doggy treat fund, which is very, very large and saucy at this point. It's got way too many treats in it.
Awesome.
That's so awesome. All right. Do you have any questions for me before I call back some of these people who are going to be inherently pissed at me for spending too much time with you?
No, Walter. Thank you very much. I'm going to work on what you said, and I will let you know the outcome for sure.
Thank you, madame. I will catch you later. If you get a chance to leave me 5 stars somewhere, it always helps me compete against the big box firms. I hope all is well, and I will catch you later.
Absolutely. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so before I call back some of these other people, I'm just going to put this up here real quick to see which ones call me back. I know it's late. I have a little list of people here who did call and then repeatedly called over and over and over again. So I'm sure I angered somebody. I usually do that. Let me call this one back real quick, because this is actually the first one that I missed of the pile. Let me see if they're still willing to go ahead and do the cha-cha-cha. Hopefully, or I might get yelled at on YouTube. It's fine either way.
System.
Hey, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. I'm sorry I missed your phone call. I actually spent way too much time with one particular claimant because I'm a horrible person at a very deep and core level. I'm sorry I missed catching up with you. But with that said, I am available right now to go ahead and run some quick questions with you or go through any details you want to. I'm going to call the next person that kept calling over and over and over again. Okay, cool. And then basically from there, I'm going to call the next person. So let me see if I can get that person, and then I'll kind of catch up with you as things keep going. Okay, and here's another one. Call. Remember the days, guys, when there was like nobody to call in and like, you know, it was one of those shindigs? Remember those days? I do. No worries, good sir. Here we go. Let me go ahead. All right, so good sir, we are live on YouTube. Go ahead and use your fake name for the record. Now, do you want me to run questions with you like a hearing, or do you want me to just kind of answer a question you have about your claim?
Whichever you prefer. Rolling some questions is pretty good. Pretty good. I can give you a rundown of what state or where I am in my health wise.
Okay.
But I mean, you can just let it fly if you want.
Let's do that. Let's go through the questions. Good sir, go ahead and state your full fake name for the record.
Let's go with Emo.
Emo. Okay. All right. That's one name. That's good. I was expecting at least three, maybe a third or second or junior in there, but we'll go with Emo.
I've been stressing about it for days, and I didn't come up with anything.
The first question, you know, it's like taking the SAT and misspelling the name. It happens. It happened to me. It actually did. I got so nervous, but that doesn't matter. So, okay. I still made it through the master's and doctorate, and I graduated early and then got postdoc. It doesn't matter. So here we go. Good start. Let me ask you this. What are your top 5 most severe impairments?
Hemophilia, osteoarthritis, bipolar, and well, I'm forgetting something. You already put me on the spot.
You're doing great. Take a deep breath. Relax. I'm not beating you up yet. Just think top 5 impairments.
HIV for 30, 35 years from a blood transfusion when I was a kid.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the top 4. I mean, I have, you know, the osteoarthritis is in my neck. My left ankle is deformed. I can't get to 90 degrees on that. I have limitations on my left elbow joint, range of motion issues, and I have bleeds into my joints still. And then I have bleeds into my soft tissue if I nail the side of a coffee table or whatnot.
What do you feel is your most severe physical impairment?
Physical. I would say the osteoarthritis in my left ankle, because it's done damage all the way up the top, into my neck and that sort of thing, because of the way it affects my my gait.
Okay. Now, when you say gait, I want you to impress the hell out of me and explain to me the type of gait limitation you have.
Well, it's kind of like riding a bicycle with a square wheel on the back. You can get it going, but it just doesn't run right.
Okay.
You know, my left hip is out of whack. You know, causes bleeds into my right thigh because that has to push over. It's caused, you know, the cervical stenosis, and because my head's always tilted to one side when I walk, so it's my left eye is atrophy compared to my right one, and I apologize to Dr. Spock. I totally know what you're going through, my friend. It actually caused elbow bleeds when I was a kid because I would overcompensate. So I that might be a very long-winded answer. I'm not sure if I even remember the question.
Okay. So you're now explaining to me
49 and a half.
And a half. Okay. Dominant hand.
January, I'll be 50.
Okay. So that is coming up. All right. Good. Dominant hand.
Right hand.
Has your height and weight, so what is your height and has your weight fluctuated?
Oh, yeah. I'm 5'9", and since I have been on my bipolar meds, I've gained 30 pounds, so I'm at 205.
All right. Did you ever work in the military? Have you ever been a citizen of another country?
No, sir.
Are you homeless or with a dwelling?
I'm in a dwelling.
Okay. So help me out real quick. When it comes to your dwelling, are there stairs going in and out of it? Or one step, two steps?
There's two. The front door is two flights of steps, and then I can go out to the garage through one flight of steps.
Okay. When you say flight, how many steps are in a flight for you?
There's 10 per. Maybe more like 7, 7 or 8 per little walk down.
Okay. Walk me through this. When it comes to where you live, do you have a wife? Do you have children? Anything like that?
I have shared custody of my son, and I'm divorced.
And you're divorced. Okay, understood. So, how often do you see your son?
Say again?
How often do you see your son?
I see him every other week.
Every other week. Okay, understood. So help me out with this. So your shared custody. What are some of the fun things that you do with your son?
I watch him play Fortnite and Minecraft.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. Good games. Fortnite and Minecraft. Okay. Good.
I try to meet him at his level and stay involved.
That's good. I try to do that with my dogs, except I find that they trick me half the time with things. So, I'm learning as a young. Yeah.
Puppy's grown a lot in the past 2 weeks.
So you've got a dog. That's it. So
no, I don't have a dog.
Oh, okay.
I do not have a dog. Your dog.
Oh yeah, they're criminals. At least misdemeanor committers. At least a felony once in a while. They steal steak off the table. They steal shoes out of the cupboard. I don't know why I said cupboard. I mean the thing that you sit on by the door, a bench. They steal them off of that. All right. So walk me through this with your kids when he plays video games. Do you play with him? Is it a 2-player gig or a 1-player gig?
No, I put a pillow on the floor and I lay on my back and use my Theracane to kind of work some kinks out of my back.
Okay, good. So how long do you usually sit there for?
Usually 25, 30 minutes at a time.
What happens after 25 to 30 minutes?
I have to get up and walk around or change positions, or it's hard for me to stay still or in one position.
Stay still for one position. Okay. All right. Okay. That's okay. Let's see. Yeah. All right. All right. So help me out with this. Do you still do things with your ex-wife?
No, we co-parent. We co-parent my son. That's about the extent of it.
Okay, gotcha. Does your son have friends?
I do not have friends. That's pretty bad.
Okay. What about your son? Does he play, ball game with people? Does he play online with people?
No, he plays football. He's the center for the. We'll see if they have a season this year, but he plays football into the feeder program for the high school.
Okay. So help me out with this. So do you ever go to events with him? Do you ever go to games with him?
Sure do.
Okay.
Yeah, sure do. I go to home games. I sometimes go to away games if they're in range, and I have to get there real early so I can take my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I leave late because I don't really like the other parents watching me gimp, and because it embarrasses my son.
Okay. Do you have a cane, crutch, walker, wheelchair?
I have an Arizona brace that fixes my ankle and my foot in place.
Okay, gotcha. Do you wear it all the time or just sometimes?
I wear it anytime I go out of the house.
Okay. So when you go shopping, what do you usually shop for?
Groceries would be the extent of it. I have a pretty big problem with that. I mean, I used Uber delivery Eats for a long time. Instacart, I discovered that, and I've used that for the past 5-6 months. If I do have to shop for some sort of groceries, I'm extremely dialed in, and I don't dally. I don't linger in the grocery store because it's hard for me to stand, and it's hard for me to wait, and I get really impatient and frustrated.
Okay. So walk me through this, help me out with this. When it comes to work, where was the last place you worked, or are you currently working?
I haven't been employed for the last 2 years, unfortunately.
So what happened?
I'm a trained gemologist. I was in the retail jewelry business, the high-end jewelry business, and I was let go from my last position. I was not expecting that at all. But yeah, I was let go.
Why were you let go?
Well, I took home some diamonds a couple times that I forgot that were in my pocket. I know that sounds crazy, but it's part of the gig to have 3 or 4 diamonds selected to show a client, and I'd come home and they would be in my pocket, and they had a RFID tagging system, and they would know if the little diamond paper left the building. That was one thing that was cited. I had some manic episodes while I was there, and unfortunately, when I'm manic and depressed at the same time, I can have some outbursts, and I overreact to stressful situations or imagined slights. And enough was enough. That's happened to me several times over the work career there.
Okay. So you were an unintentional diamond thief. Sounds like a good Blockbuster. I would watch it if Blockbuster didn't go out of business. So that's good. Walk me through this.
They always made it back.
They always did. They always did. So you're a really bad thief. Like you're like a 1 out of 10. So, okay, I got you.
Yeah, right.
We all got to be bad at something. There's always one. Okay. All right.
I wish I was still in the business. I could hook you up if you ever needed it.
Oh God, yeah. Marriage scares the hell out of me. God, it's like, buy a boat or put a ring on the finger of Beyonce. I don't know. That's scary.
Well, they both can give you trouble.
Yeah, let me tell you, engines and women, you can have 2 engines in a boat though. That was a bad joke. I'll take that one back. All right.
That was good.
So with that said, on that happy note that I'm going to get bitched out on very shortly. So with that said, let me ask you this. So you said you can climb up 2 flights of stairs. Is that correct?
I don't know how to really put this succinctly. I do stairs. I do a sidewalk, which I'm not sure if there's another term for that, but 1 foot step, 1 foot step. I'll put it this way. I will I'll bag the trash when I'm having a good day. I'll put the bagged trash by the door, and when I'm having a really good day, I'll get it down to the trash can. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy for me. It's a big deal.
How many good days and how many bad days do you have a month?
I would say I have 3 or 4 really good days out of the month. Probably 4 or 5 good ones out of the month. The rest of them are, either just flat or bad.
Okay, what would you define as a bad day?
A bad day is struggling to get out of the bed, and I know that everybody does that. Sitting comatose for 3 or 4 hours, trying to get the brain fog lifted, and if it doesn't lift, I'm out. I'm immobilized for the day. I fight every day to to bathe. That's to bathe, brush my teeth. Those are the metrics of my success in the day. And I try to do that every single day. Doesn't sound like much, but it is one way to help me stay sane.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a whole lot of fun being here
mm-hmm.
and going through this, and I don't like being here. And so, I've learned certain things, little rungs on the ladder, I call them, to keep me moving and to keep me from slipping into major depression.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, depression. Define it for me. What is depression to you?
I mean, the worst of it is being snorkeling in a tar pit.
Mm-hmm.
I avoid any kind of phone call. I avoid, I avoid everybody. I avoid any kind of social interaction. I muster every bit of my energy and strength to be as normal as I can for my son. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy. And once he has gone back to his mom's, it's pretty dark, pretty despairing. My biggest fear is when it starts to get dark, because that is the loneliest and darkest and the bleakest time for being depressed. Thankfully, some of the medications that I'm taking now, they modulate some of that. I mean, now my depression is basically using every ounce of willpower to motivate to do simple things, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So walk me through this. What medications are you currently taking? What are they for? What side effects do you get from each?
Okay. I take olanzapine, 10 milligrams nightly, and
mm-hmm.
that's for the bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Side effects are weight gain, malaise, lethargy, feeling memory issues, short-term memory issues. I take lamotrigine, 200 milligrams, and that is for the bipolar
mm-hmm.
as well. And that doesn't have as many side effects as basically sun sensitivity and that sort of thing. I take lorazepam twice a day, and that contributes to malaise and lethargy, hard to focus, and hard to just get up and move. I take basically Adderall, dextroamphetamine for my ADD. And I take that 3 times a day just to be able to function. So there's no big side effect of that. It's just dry them out. I take some ibuprofen. I take Motrin when I can, or when I take the ibuprofen, I have to be careful with that because it's a blood thinner and it will cause bleeding when I take it too much for pain. So I tend to stay with the Tylenol. I take, for sleep, I take the lorazepam and Benadryl, and I know I'm missing something. That's a lot. No, that's everything.
I'm going to start with the PTSD. What does it stem from?
PTSD?
Yeah.
Well, I know it's in my medical records, but I've never purported that to be part of my disability. I'm always waiting for the other boot to drop, and there's like an infinite supply of boots, evidently. But yeah, I mean, it's in my records that there's PTSD. I always expect something bad is going to happen, but I don't know that is my major reason for being disabled. The bipolar really is the forefront and probably encompasses all of that.
You are classic, clearly, some sort of nightmare, some sort of flashback, something that shakes you. What is the memory? What is the problem in your past that causes the depression, bipolar, and anxiety?
bipolar is a organic condition. PTSD, hemophilia, that was enough to deal with as a kid. All right. When I was in 7th grade, I found out that there was this disease killing people, and I had that. And so that was a lot to deal with as a kid. I mean, it really set me off on I faced my own mortality as a child. And
define for the YouTube community, what is hemophilia? Explain the whole blood clot thing, the bleeding thing when you get injured. Yeah, explain it for them. Yeah.
Hemophilia is a genetic disease that your blood is made up of proteins, and they're like dominoes, and all the dominoes have to fall in order for your blood to clot properly. I'm missing one of those proteins, and it's called factor 8. And so when I run into a table, or I hyperextend a ankle or an arm, it bleeds into the joint. And I was the youngest hemophiliac in Georgia to give my own IVs, and I started doing that when I was 8 years old. However, that was not something that worked as well back in the 70s. So it's a bleeding disorder, and if I'm having infused and that sort of thing, stupid stuff like if I nick myself shaving, that'll ooze for half the day. But the main thing is the bleeding into the joints, and bleeding into the joints eats away at the cartilage and the synovial sac, and creates calcium instead of cartilage, and it deforms the joints. And I've had some serious bleeding, serious pain from that sort of thing.
How does that affect you nowadays?
Well, I treat with a factor 8 replacement. I give that prophylactically. Mm-hmm. And, I'm really mostly dealing with the results of a lifetime of having it bleed in my joints. Most of the bleeds are under control. I can look at my treatment calendars and go over, different episodes that I've had. If I have acute trauma, and what that means is, like I said, bumping into the coffee table, something stupid like that, jamming a finger. I still have bleeds into my elbow, and that's really frustrating. I have bleeds into my muscles, and when I overdo it, and I treat for that. And when I do, it can take 2 to 3 days just to kind of heal and stop bleeding, and the blood to reabsorb from, it's like if you get a bruise, my bruise keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm. All right. What we're missing from this story is when the last time a big emergency happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. It depends on what you define as emergency. I mean, I've had this for all my life, so I'm more skilled than most doctors are in knowing how to treat hemophilia. I bit my tongue literally about 3 months ago, and that's a real problem. Your saliva breaks down in clotting, so I treat it over a 4 or 5 day time period, and bled during that time period. And you have to take another medicine called Amicar that disables some of the digestive enzymes or whatever it is in your mouth, your saliva, and you end up with a big clot on your tongue. It's really disgusting, I know, but that's what you end up with. It affects your speech, and it affects you being able to eat a young kid, that would have been a trip to the hospital possibly. But it's something that I communicate with my hemophilia of Georgia pharmacy, and they make sure that I have enough medicine on hand. And that would be the most recent one.
So, nightmares. Do you have any nightmares of getting injured? Flashbacks. Do you have any flashbacks of getting injured?
I have nightmares, and I have very disrupted sleep patterns. I don't have specific nightmares about hemophilia. No, I had nightmares of HIV, my own demise. I had nightmares about the possibility I was going to die. But, oh, God, I totally forgot about those meds. Jeez Louise. I take something called Jimboya, and that causes malaise, joint pain, depression. It causes some cognitive dysfunction. Now, obviously, I can't remember your question.
Well, we're a little off here. I'll kind of bring us back to it. So let me ask you this: how do you pay for things? Are you currently receiving benefits?
No, thankfully, I have about $6,000 or $6,462 left in my account. I cleared my 401k, and I worked hard on my life, since I was 14. And so I'm about out of money. Thankfully, I had some savings to get me through this. Not savings, my 401k. I put that to the ground. It's been about 2 years, and I have $6,426 or whatever it is. And I'm glad to have it.
Good. Let me ask you this. Do you currently have any licenses, permits, or allowances, or any specialized education?
I'm a certified graduate.
Oh, did we lose you?
No, I'm a graduate gemologist. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and let me ask you this. All right, so you were using that type of education for how long? How many years did you do that field?
Since 1998.
Okay. All right, so an extended period.
High-end jewelry retail sales.
Okay.
I was on the sales floor.
Okay. All right. Now let me ask you this: when it comes to going back to work, I mean, you said that you were surprised when the job ended, and that was the last job you had. Why didn't you find alternative work?
I did. I was in the midst of a extremely intense bipolar, manic, and depressive condition. So I was agitated, is what they call it.
Sure.
And I became psychotic. But before that, I couldn't bring myself to look for work for about 2 or 3 months. I was in a very bad way. And I hadn't left the house. I answered a local Facebook post to work at a local nursery, a family-owned nursery. And it, for where I was and what I was doing, it worked out okay because it was project-based and it was part-time, and it wasn't something that I had to, if I could do the project, it was on my time when I could do it. And I really liked the job. unfortunately, when I put my focus on something, a lot of times it can trigger another manic episode. And what happened is I was to build and design some stand up in the yard plywood triangles that looked like elves and little snowmen, or not snowmen, Santa Clauses and that sort of thing. Well, I stayed up for 4 days trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And I became psychotic, and I couldn't do it. I never went back to the job. And when I crashed, I was in very, very bad shape physically. When I'm manic, I feel no pain. I'm brilliant. I can do anything, and I pay the price for that. That's what the last work attempt was, and it was real different from the gemology business, from the jewelry business.
So help me out with this going forward. Can you explain to me? Is there a job that you think you might be able to work? Maybe a part-time job.
Leave my house. I'd like to be able to drive to go see my elderly 96-year-old grandma. Mm-hmm. I am finding, in order to keep the sanity that I do have and the pattern that I've learned and become self-aware of with the help of my psychiatrist and my therapist, that when I put myself in a situation of stress, and that can be dealing with people, that can be meeting deadlines, that can be showing up to work on time, I open myself to the extremes of the bipolar. And that is one of the most deadly conditions. That's the most deadly condition I have at this moment. You know, the pain of standing on my feet, the pain when I drive, the pain when I'm sitting on my ass and sitting on my rear end, mm-hmm. trying to adjust, putting my neck over the back of the sofa so I can try to get it into some homespun traction. Mm-hmm. That is my job, is to try to keep myself sane, to do my physical therapy, to meet with my therapist, to meet with my psychiatrist, to meet with my doctors on a regular basis, and put my health first for the first time in my life.
Okay.
And again, I like the question, would I want to go back to work? Could I go back to work? I so wish that I could snap my fingers and feel like I could. Mm-hmm. But it's not something that I can do. I can make it when I have the will. I will myself to go walk to the end of the backyard to the fence and walk back to the house. And I feel like a complete failure and loser that wears my ass out when I do that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, can I work at a convenience store or something like that? I don't think that I could, because standing, sitting, carrying, fingering, all that stuff that, on good days I can do some of it. On bad days I can do none of it.
Okay.
That's not even talking about, driving. Driving causes pain and that sort of thing. I look at the Jiffy Lube sticker from November 2019. Is that right? Mm-hmm. It's about a year ago. I put 2,400 miles on my car in a year. And it's because I'm staying. I drive to pick up my son. And that's 10 minutes away. Round trip. I think the question was, do I think I can work? Mm-hmm. I've never admitted to myself I spent a whole lifetime being the poster child for hemophilia. You know, I've plowed through pain. I fought pain all my life. I put on a good face about it. I didn't want to be thought of as different.
Mm-hmm.
But when it finally catches up to you and you just can't, you have no other choice but to realize you're in a bad way and your health is declining and you've done damage to yourself. That was a hard pill to swallow. Very hard pill to swallow. Hard to look at yourself in the mirror. That's where it is.
Okay. So what you've got to do is you've got to go ahead and take that and summarize it better, because that was a chunk of time and it was good. It was heartfelt. But the problem with it is, even though it was heartfelt, we were just running out the clock there. If you were sitting in front of the judge would have cut you off and said, "Hey, next question." So, okay.
So I don't think I can work. The pain and the ability not to be able to drive, the pain affecting my driving, I would not be able to work. Is that more concise?
Perfect. Tell me more about it, though. Okay. What happened with your ability to not work? I want bullet points from each impairment.
Well, starting with the bipolar, I don't deal with authority figures. I can have outbursts to my boss. I can become extremely resentful and act on it.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Agitated.
Act on it.
Yeah, you know, in one of my jobs before I got fired, I flipped off the boss as he walked away, and that's out of the norm for what people would say that I am normally. You know, mm-hmm. Dealing with customers can make me agitated. Weird hours. You know, I have to adhere to a very, very strict routine during my day. If my life revolves around what time to take my meds because of what they do to me. Mm-hmm. And I already forgot the freaking question.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a series of quick questions. You have to answer them with a single sentence, not anything more. They have to be extremely summarized. Are you ready?
Right on.
Okay, perfect. Good, sir. Walk me through. Are you able to cook, clean, or do laundry?
Yes, yes, and yes. When I've developed methods. I use aluminum foil and the George Foreman grill to cook. Otherwise, it's a microwave. Laundry, I've reduced my wardrobe to approximately 4 outfits. Mm-hmm. And I can only do that on a good day because that's all the way down the stairs. And then there was a third thing that was in there. Clean. I don't have much impact on my dwelling because I don't move that much. My home is best described as tidy but dirty because I can't mop, vacuum, sweep occasionally. Mm-hmm. So I try my best to be a low impact on my house. So tidy but dirty. The toilets, sinks and that sort of things.
All right. One thing I'm not hearing anything about is how your son helps you with these functions. Walk me through it.
We got him doing the trash, and he vacuums his game room and his bedroom. That's really about it. You know, he helps me cook on occasion, but I try to protect him from having to compensate for me. So
when the judge hears that, what do you think the judge is going to think?
That I can do it.
You got it. And how does that hurt your claim?
Well, yeah, I can see how it does. I mean, I don't care if you're in a wheelchair stuck at home and you live by yourself, you find a way to eat somehow. with help or whatnot. But I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that. Prepared meals, ordering Instacart stuff coming into the house. I don't have to bathe him. I don't have to brush his teeth. I don't have to do much for a 12-year-old boy. How does he help me? I don't leave the house except to pick him up or to go to the doctor.
How far away is he when you have to go pick him up?
He's right on the button, 14 minutes away.
Okay, gotcha. And let me ask you this: when you're driving, do you have any difficulty with driving?
Yes, I do a contortionist dance. When I'm holding the steering wheel, my right shoulder pops in and out of joint or something like that. I'm not sure how I explained it, but at the 20-minute mark, my right hand my thumbs and my fingertips start to go numb, and I have to switch to the left arm to drive, and those fingers begin to go numb. I have about 38 degrees of motion in my left arm. So trying to grab the steering wheel with that, because I can't reach out all the way, causes issues. My stenosis in my neck, I look like I'm an epileptic because I'm jerking my head this way and jerking my head that way, trying to get some kind of relief. I drive to pick them up and I drive back, and that is it. Drive to the doctor.
So, let me ask you this.
I've taken lifts before, if I really need to, but I try not to do that often because of money.
You're trying to sell me at the same time that you are disabled and also that you basically are capable of handling things. Is that correct?
You have to define handling things.
Well, you learn how to cook, you learn how to clean, you learn how to take care of yourself. You don't put things on your 12-year-old.
Yeah, okay.
Now remember too,
well,
I'm trained to.
Go ahead.
I'm trained.
I get it. That's why I called.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel you could improve it? What do you think you could do to change the overall, the beginning to this? What do you feel would be the thing that you could do to go ahead and make this better for you in the overall, if you were to just change your perception and approach to this, how would you change it?
Well, I would take an inventory of how I actually and when I actually cook.
Oh, you got really quiet there. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you better now. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, I said I would take a real hard look and an inventory of when am I actually cooking with a capital C. When Cameron's here, my son, it's Uber Eats and Domino's. So do I cook every night? No, I cook probably 25% of the time. And when I do that, I've come up with, cooking techniques. I can't pick up a big pot. I can't do that. I use aluminum foil for everything. I don't know. I got to think about that. Because, honestly, of course, when anybody says honestly, they're getting ready to tell you a whopper. I don't know. I have to think about that. I really have to think about that. I put 90-second rice and some fish wrapped in aluminum foil. Is that cooking?
Well, yeah. You're making food.
Yeah, but it's definitely cooking. But it doesn't weigh anything. It doesn't it doesn't call for much dexterity. It doesn't take much cleanup. Zero cleanup. It just goes into the trash bin.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to lie and say I can't cook, because if the absolute chips are down, I can wobble my way in and figure out a way to do it. It's a success when I can reach around and bathe my private parts.
Sure.
That's a success, and I know that's I don't know if that's good for the YouTube audience, but I think good enough that's what I would tell the judge.
Okay. All right. Now let me ask you this.
I guess I got to get that to one sentence.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is because here's the thing. You're one of those types of guys who comes around to the answer, and you have to convince yourself first of the answer that you want to deliver. So you kind of, snake your way through the grass, and then you're sitting over here looking at it, and you gotta, you know what I mean? And you're stepping up, and that's fine. But when you're in that hearing, there's no discovery period. There's no like, I'm going to figure out what it's all purely, you have to answer right off the bat, ready to go, exactly what the judge is looking for. So it's one of those things where you've really got to know what you need to deliver right up front. So with that said, and this is kind of important here, let me ask you this. What are the top 5 things that you think you can improve with your hearing testimony?
The top thing is being concise. That's in my my therapy records that I can't shut up, and I go around to my elbow to get to my ass. Yeah, I'll be concise.
Okay, we're looking for the top 5. So I'm not letting you out that easy. We need a couple more.
Top 5. Be concise. Make a statement, not a story.
That's the same as number 1.
I know.
We're doing great. We're making it all the way through to number 5.
Can I have an aside?
You can dial a friend. We have the same rules as that TV show. You got 3 options. Here, I'll help you out. Number 2 would be not explaining how you're a Superman, but explaining the difficulties you have.
Okay.
Number 3, go for
it. Accepting that I'm disabled. Okay, here's another one.
So that's number 2.
Yeah, I mean,
that's good.
Walter, I'm a little bit stymied. Hell, I barely can remember the beginning of our conversation.
All right, so here's what you're going to do to make it easier. Number 1, you're going to bullet point things out. Summarize. Number 2, you're going to, as you put it, accept your disability. Stop talking about your Superman. I get done. I make it happen. I can do this. Number 3, you talk about the hardships that are in your life in a more direct storyline manner. So, you kind of like to, here we go, and here we go, here we go. I like the emotional context, but what I don't like is the story that goes with it to make me say, okay, I understand his pain. Because when you explain a story to me, I'm kind of like, well, maybe it's bad for him. Maybe it's not. I sit there and I watch video games with my son. Well, how long does he sit there? How long can he sit there? Does he play with him? Does he have commentary with his son? Et cetera, et cetera. The next thing is have things bullet pointed out on pieces of paper since it's going to be a telephonic hearing. That way you'll basically be good to go with everything right in front of you. Don't read from it. Have it partially memorized. Use it for reference. And then basically the final thing I would say with your type of claim is to make sure. Now, do you have an attorney or no?
I do. I have an advocacy group actually in Tampa.
Okay.
That represents hemophiliac. Had I known what I know now, you'd be getting your 6,000, I hope. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
I mean, here's the thing. Now, when you say this is an advocacy group, is this like an attorney that can write a brief, or is this a non-attorney that shows up?
This is an attorney.
Okay, good. All right.
And he actually said, I asked him about the brief, and he said he usually doesn't write one unless the judge asks for it, which threw me.
That is 95% of the attorneys out there. I do a brief and an opening statement, and here's why. I process more claims than most attorneys that do this for a living. And the reality is that A, I need to figure out what's in it, and then B, on the day of the hearing, I need to remember what's in it. So if I don't have a brief or an opening statement, I can't remember your claim. So it's one of those gigs where I put a bow on the whole thing, write it up, make it good, get it to the judge. And I'll tell you, the last hearing I had, the judge said to me, okay, well, you just shared something with me in your brief. Now I'm going to share something with you. And they defined specifically what they were looking for to find them impaired. So we changed the alleged onset date, got them what they wanted, and they were happy, found disabled. That is a master's level tactic. That is a high level approach to do it. Most attorneys don't do it because it takes too much time. They have kids, they have hobbies, and they have some illegal hobbies. And some of them just get carried away with their other life. And that's fine and that's good. But for me, that's unfortunately not something I have ventured into other than my extreme boating habit, which I never get to go on my boats. I just pretty much get to work on them or repair them. But anyway, so
probably very
yeah.
Well, you and Ginsburg are of like mind.
Good. A lot of people say that, and that's the thing is that his stylistic quality is a much more relaxed kind of, here's what I found, here's what I like, things like that. And my style, I think, is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, why the hell did you do that? But I think also he had a better, less aggressive upbringing than I did. The classic thing is, when I would screw up, my parents would look at me and say, how stupid could you be? And then it took me until I was basically an adult to figure out the correct answer was, I am extra stupid. I don't know how I could be that stupid. I don't know how I did that. And that's the correct answer. I just didn't really. But, I grew up in a household with very aggressive executive parents, and they kind of pushed me because to them, when Yoda would say, there is no try, just do. What he was really saying was, he trained my parents.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but, and I guess I would say this, number 5, my big thing is, go and get them. Now, have they run over questions with you yet or no?
No.
Okay. When is the hearing?
The 26th.
Oh God, man, that's like, I don't even have another payroll to process before that. So,
right.
When are they gonna?
Hold a mental health condition and keep that in check when, waiting for that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, when are they gonna?
The 26th at 9:15 in the morning. Phone hearing.
Well, but when are they going to run questions with you?
Oh, that's a good question. He said we'll run questions a few days before the trial. Before the hearing.
Okay. All right.
So he said he would run a question. It's a 3-person.
Oh, good. That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. That's the other option is he could not. I didn't. That's good. Yeah. Okay. So if I was hiring an attorney.
Yeah.
Do it. Do what my clients do. My clients call me 3 months before the hearing and bitch me out and say, I want to run 3 hours worth of questions. Look, you can ask him to run questions with you ahead of time. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but you do need a lot more prep. I kind of let you just, go through the weeds and keep running on the hidden path through the secret garden.
A good team for good YouTube entertainment. Yes.
A little bit. I need fun too. People forget that, and that's, I need to feel loved by the moments that I get to have, which are never good. Anyway, the point is, I'm on board with you. I think you've got a great claim, but what worries me is your testimony is long-winded. It's not bullet pointed. It's not direct. It's not emotionally connecting me at the right times and the right moments. And, one of the things that I think would have been really great is if you drew attention to the fact you want to do things with your kid, but you can't. And how that affects your child would have been a great emotional context to dive into. You know, one of the things you want to ask your attorney is, hey, does this judge have kids? Does this judge connect with child situations, not being able to interact with the child, not being able to do things with the child, you know, and asking the attorney, hey, what is this judge like? What is this, you know, what's the background? What do I know? You know, because remember, you're going in there to win, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's funny that you brought that up because it would be absolutely truthful. I mean, hell, he's a center on the football team. I could have him sitting there hiking the ball to me if that was something I could do.
Right.
That's frustrating. Yeah. So I'll be looking at that.
Good, sir. I will catch you later. If you do have additional questions, reach out to me. I'll catch up with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'm going to call back one other gentleman after this, and I'll catch up with you later.
Okay. I just want to say one thing. Walter, you are one in a million, and what you're doing for this community is far and above what most people would do, and it is greatly appreciated. And enjoy your puppy. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you later. Thank you.
Later on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, so that is a person, if I were a judge, I would approve, because there were things that I caught as bullet points. They were scattered all over the place, but there were things, and I know the medical record's going to support it, that he has the inability to do jobs that consistently require him to integrate with other individuals on a daily basis. And you notice the part where he talked about how he had to build those things. We're talking about somebody who would work if they could work. So what I'm getting at here is that guy had like an employer mentality as opposed to an employee mentality. And he must be actually really bad to get to that point. And all right, something I want to point out real quick. Some people have an employee mentality. Some people have an employer mentality. Employee mentality is those are the people that like go out and buy stuff that's all prepackaged, ready to go. Look at this thing I bought. Look at this pretty little house I bought. It doesn't have anything nice, but the house is nice. And I'm going to, eat, I'm going to eat little chocolates with my girlfriends over there. That is employee mentality. Then you have employer mentality, which is basically where you build things. You buy junk that you turn into really nice stuff, or, and because let me explain what an employer actually is. An employer is somebody who had curiosity, thought they could fix it, fixed it, made it better. Now people want it. They create an idea, a store, a logo. Now they've got a product line. They have employees. These employees are selling that product. The product is perfect. It's amazing. It's wonderful. But we never tell them that the better product that we're working on is coming out in 2 weeks, because that makes them not want to buy the perfect current product. That's an employer's mentality. That guy had an employer's mentality. So he must be real bad to not actually do those other things. So that's something that, from a psychological standpoint, I noticed about him. That was very, very important. Okay. So let me go to that other phone call real quick. And then that's going to be the last one for the night, I promise, because I have to, tomorrow, I'm doing a very important drive to go to pretty much my favorite place for vacation land on Earth. I'm going to tell you where it is because it's incredible. It is Bar Harbor, Mount Desert Island area. And it is incredible. If you ever get a chance to Google while this drink drips water all over me, Bar Harbor, Mount Desert Island, you will love it. You will be awestruck by it. You will be blinded by its beauty. Its culture is blueberry beer, amazing ice cream, classic attire. It's almost like going back in time. And then throw on top, just sprinkle on top of that heavily. You know, when you go get a McFlurry and you're like, let me get extra, M&Ms. And the lady's like, all right. And then she just swishes it more slowly with the machine. I'm talking about Bowflex maneuvers. Sprinkled heavily, if you will. Horrible, terrible, unconscionable tourists. You can tell because they all have the same different color sweatshirt on. They're horrible tourists. I'm not a tourist. I've been coming here for 34 years. That makes me special. But the bottom line is these are tourists. I love them dearly, but it's true. They're tourists. And we try to shove them all into the whale watching boat and then feed them to the whales, but the whales are sick of them because it's not a high-end cotton that they have to get through. It's just low-end. So we go through that, yada, yada. Anyways, it's not polite to use people as lobster for the whales. All right, so what we need to do is call the last person. I don't even know what we were talking about there, and I'm going to blame it on that. All right, here we go. Call. Let me see if this person is still good to go. He might be like, oh, it's too late. It is 11:05. Howdy, good sir. Attorney Walter Hnot. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Pretty good. Sorry I missed your call earlier.
Okay, no problem. Good sir. Let's go ahead and run some questions. What is your fake name for the record?
Charles Tellero.
Oh, hold on real quick. So good sir, we're actually live on YouTube, running a live YouTube thing right now. So with that said, do you want me to call you back after the show? Well, no, but I'm live on YouTube right now. Okay, perfect, good sir. I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, guys. So, okay, so at this point, it is now 11:06. We have talked about all kinds of things in disability law, tricky questions, how to answer questions better. I already lost track, so we're just going to put the hand up and pretend that we're counting. Other things that were important: whales, people, human beings, good stuff. At this point, I want to thank you so much for coming to the show. And Shadow really thanks you for coming as well. I don't know where he is. I think he fell asleep because he got bored. And I can't wait to catch up with you guys next week. I hope you like the new camera. I look great on it, even though I'm disheveled and ugly. And perfect. I will catch up with you later. I hope all's well. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. And thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.